We are in that time of the year. We are in that time of the year right now where we are 100 days out from the start of the National Football League season. 100 days out to the Thursday game between the Chiefs and Ravens, and then the Brazil game between the Eagles and Packers on Friday. But as we always do, we start the show out with Big Sills. Hope you had a fantastic, and I would say reflecting, Memorial Day weekend. It's one of the greatest weekends of all time. You know why? You honor heroes. Heroes. It's not somber to me. It's people with uncommon valor. I love people, men and women, with valor. No matter what the branch of service you served, no matter what your political belief is, no matter what your religious belief is, you stand for one thing: the flag, symbolic of our country and our values. Your values, my values, we get a chance to have and set our own values because of America. And that's what Memorial Day weekend is all about, to me. This past weekend, I was not sad because you're honoring some of the greatest people in the history of our country. You know, I mean, from the beginning, Revolutionary War, all the way down to what people are doing now across the world for us. It's wonderful. Greatest team of all time. Just it's a time of reflection. Okay? Hey, for the record, I appreciate each and every single person that comes here on a day-to-day basis. Let me say this to you guys. There are so many other options out there. But you know what you have done? And I appreciate it because I started getting those direct messages. And that's one of the reasons I leave it open on my X account, is so that people can send me Sills. I did listen to the radio stations in Philly or your respected city. I'm right here, brother. We're going to grow this bad puppy and continue to grow this bad puppy. And we appreciate it. You got people at the Eagle organization and on Park Avenue, in the Miami Dolphins, the Buccaneers, Rams, Steelers. You know how many coaches from the Steelers watch this show? My ex-teammates do. Two of them. Tight end coach Alfredo Roberts and Carl Dunbar, defensive line coach for the Steelers. They all watch the show too. Tom Telesco, who's been a guest on this program, tries to catch the show at least once or twice a week. He's now the general manager of the Raiders. Used to be with the Chargers. Chargers watch the show. And this is all really because of you. Thank you. Hope you're energized and charged, because this is now a sprint to the start of the season. Look how close we are to July 27th when the start of training camp is. It's pretty crazy, isn't it? You know, I heard Xander go, 100 days. Dude, that's 3 months. That's 3 months away from the start of the season. You're 3 months. Do you know where I would be right now? 3 months, I'd be panicking. You know why? Am I in shape? Am I studying enough? Am I watching enough game film? Do I understand what Vic Fangio or Kellen Moore want me to do? Let me get out there with my friends. Hey, you want to throw the ball around? Let's see if we can work on some of those pass routes. You're not sitting around doing shit right now. You're starting to get into that panic mode because you know what you're doing? You're revving the engines up. You're revving. This is like revving the engines up, and you're going through pre-flight check. Wheels ready. Plane gassed. We got everything we need, because we're getting ready to take off here. College football season right around the corner, too. Really crazy, man. Time is a flexing. Is it me? But how about this, man? Dude, I blinked. The season was over. I blinked again. We're 3 months out. James says you're welcome, so as always, keep it No matter what. Hey, James, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you coming here each and every single day. Flexing, I go like this. I blink, the season's over. I blink again, we blink again, we're going to be in training camp. Crazy time, man. I mean, Packers, Eagles are right around the corner here. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right. I saw some interesting topics. By the way, Xander's been killing it. He's going to join us each and every single day at 3:30. Gary Cobb, as always, will join us at 4:30 from Fox 29 in Philadelphia. And I have to start this out because I saw this, because one of the Bibles now that we're starting to use as a metric when it comes to evaluating players in the league. Oh, by the way, OTAs. I see people in here going, hey, Sills, how about the rookies? How about Kenny Flickett? Woo! Kenny Flickett. Man, what a camp he's having. This guy looks like he's Tom Brady. Look at Kenny Flickett. Hey, if the DBs can look good, how about Kenny Flickett? Wow. Outperforming Jalen Hurts. Kenny Flickett. Flickett. Go ahead, flick it with me. Say it with me. Kenny Flickett. Kenny Flickett. I like it. Man, is he killing it. Wow. I think that's a good thing, man. And guess what? The disrespect for Hurts continues. And now PFF is joined in. Many of you use that as the real news come out, Sills. Hurts ain't having a good camp. That's ESP talking. You don't really believe anything that guy says, do you? Kenny Flickett. Kenny Flickett. You don't do research. Hey, Prince, I don't do research. You know what you don't do? You don't take your rose-colored glasses off that has Jalen Hurts' name on them. You can't be critical of anybody. Hey, by the way, when you're a pro football fan, everybody is open game. Tom Brady included. Maybe I should have always said that. I've never excluded anybody, even the greatest players in the game, from criticism. This ain't about you, guy. This is about winning ball games and being better. This ain't anything about liking my favorite Eagle or my favorite Commander or my favorite Buffalo. It has nothing to do with that. I could give a shit about that. I was even critical of Jason Kelce last year when he had those illegal procedure penalties in critical moments in games, losing focus. Come on, man. Come on, man. How about this one? PFF, top 10 quarterbacks in the NFC. And I thought I'd throw mine in here. So I thought I'd match them up because we did this a little bit ago, but PFF came out with this. Who do you think they thought was the best quarterback in the NFC? And I'm assuming this is based off of 2024 or 2024 in history. Who did PFF say is the number one quarterback? Come on, Prince. In the NFC. Who's the number one quarterback? Dak is back. Woo! They got Dak Prescott. Where's your boy Hurts? They got Dak Prescott number one. They got Dak Prescott. We're also going to do strengths and weaknesses out of the first week of OTAs. Got a nice little insight with my guy, Clint Hurt. How you doing? 11, this is what I said. Best quarterback based off of 2024 in the NFC is Dak. He had a better year than Hurts. What did Jalen do last year more than Dak? He had a better statistical year, and you guys both sucked in the playoff game. I was just curious. Where did you think he was better than him last year? And you can't use 2022. Where did you think Dak Prescott was not better than Jalen Hurts in 23? He had a better season all around. Won the East. He won the division. He had a better statistical year, and he played the same amount of playoff games as you. I know that hurts your feelings, but he had a better 23 season than you, team and statistically. Team and statistically, he was better. Right? And you know why, team? He won the division. If Jalen had won the division, doesn't make Dak probably number one. He played better. Dude, he's been to the league. I'm talking about 2023, dude. I'm not talking about anything else. And if you're going to use that metric, we're going to continue here because PFF had Dak Prescott ranked number one. I also did too for 2023 NFC quarterbacks. Number two, I was kind of shocked PFF went here. They had Matthew Stafford, Rams. I'm like, really? Okay. Not me. I had Brock Purdy. Purdy won the division and the conference and went to a fifth quarter in a Super Bowl, threw for $4,000 and 30 touchdowns. You could make the argument he had a better season than Dak. I had Purdy number two. I was like, Stafford, you have ranked higher than Brock Purdy? Okay. PFF, Wishbone Hurts, number three. I had Jordan Love. Jordan Love won his division, had a better statistical season, and won more playoff game than both Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts. Winning has to matter, and that was, as you guys say, Dak's been in the league longer. Well, Love's only been in the league 1 year. So, which is it? Does it matter for Love, or does it matter for Dak length of career? So, I had Jordan Love, number three. 4,000 plus passing yards, 30 touchdowns, won the division, and won a playoff game. How did he not have a better, including Dak? Including Dak. Actually, excuse me, I'll take that back. He won one more playoff game. He didn't win the division because the Lions won the NFC North. Apologize. Number four, PFF, top-rated NFC quarterbacks. They had Jordan Love at 4. I had Jared Goff, number 4. Won his division, threw for 4,400 yards, 30 touchdowns, won 2 playoff games, went to the NFC Championship game. I mean, how's that making it? Here, Senor, I'll make sure I do it again. Dak won the East, had a better statistical year and played as many games as Jalen did and was better. He's won for me. Purdy won his division, went to the Super Bowl, played in a fifth quarter, had a better statistical year than Jalen Hurts. I had him too. This is not made up facts. Here's number 3. Jordan Love beat the Cowboys, had a playoff win, was 1-1, had a better statistical year than Hurts. I had him 3. Here's Jared Goff. Jared Goff won his division, won 2 playoff games, went to the NFC title game, had a better statistical year than both Dak and Jalen Hurts. That's why I have Goff 4. They have Jordan Love. That's not made up. That's what they did. That's not made up. PFF had Brock Purdy 5th. I went, whoa, 5th. So you get docked because you won your conference. Or no, you played in the conference title game. You won your division. And you won 2 playoff games. Wow, okay. I had Jalen Hurts 5. I don't think that's bad. The guys in front of him had a better year. Goff, Love, Purdy, and Dak. Dak won the division. Purdy won the division. Love won a playoff game and had a better statistical year. Goff won the division. Went to the conference championship game. Jalen gets crushed by the Buccaneers. I don't think that's a rip. I think that's what it is. Not ripping anybody. I'm giving people roses right here for having what they did in 2023. Number 6. Hey, man, you want to hear something crazy? PFF has Kirk Cousins number 6. Now, I get it. This is something crazy. I think he had 18 touchdowns. And I think he did that in what, 9 games? Do you know that Jalen only threw 5 more touchdowns than him, and that guy missed half the season? Now, I get PFF thinks a lot of him. I actually do too. But at number 6, I had Matthew Stafford at 6 for his 2023 performance. Number 7, they had Jared Goff. I was like, I don't see that you have him that ranked that low in the NFC with quarterbacks from 2023. There were very few quarterbacks in the NFC that outplayed him. This guy beat Mahomes too. On the road. At Arrowhead. Just like your guy, and went to the NFC title game. And won his division. Remember something. All these guys have done something really. It's not really a rip. Number 7, I got Geno Smith. This is where we start to get to the dregs a little bit of the NFC and quarterbacks. Okay? Hurts didn't win his division. He didn't win his division. Goff won his division. Went to the NFC title game. Won 2 playoff games. Meet Myles Garrett at the Mavs game. Shook his hand and told him I'd rather have him than missing Parsons. 304. That's not really a big take, but thank you for the super chat. Okay, hey, you're right. Myles Garrett is spectacular. He's spectacular. First ballot Hall of Famer. I mean it. Just an absolutely great football player. And he is going to get this. I think Jim Schwartz's defense might be even better this year. I had Geno Smith 7. Number 8, they got Kyler Murray at number 8. We'll see. I didn't see anything based on 23. And I'll show you how stupid PFF is in a second here. I had Kirk Cousins 8. He did throw for 18 touchdowns. Half the year. Number 9, they have Geno, Seattle. I have Kyler Murray. Guy was hurt almost the whole year. They have Caleb Williams, number 10. Hasn't thrown an NFL regular season pass yet. How do you know that? No way. In my book, I put Baker Mayfield there. At least he threw for $4,000, put his team in the playoffs, and actually won a division title. You have Caleb Williams at 10? How do you know that? I mean, I can't be critical of of Mitchell and DeJean when they haven't played a snap yet. How could you put Caleb Williams in an evaluation of not being even in a preseason football game? I mean, how could you even go? How do you know Bo Nix won't be better? I think that's crazy. I'm not putting a rookie in a top 10 in quarterbacks in the NFC having never thrown a pass. That shows you the flaw in PFF. That's an assumption. That's not a fact. So that's really not an evaluation. How can you evaluate Caleb Williams for losing to Oregon versus Jalen beating the Buffalo Bills? How can you even put that into a conversation? You can't. I mean, Caleb Williams has never played an NFL down yet. Eduardo, this is NFC top 10 quarterbacks. Not all quarterbacks. NFC. CJ Stroud plays in the AFC. Okay? Plays in the AFC. So based off your 2023, PFF has Dak 1, Stafford 2, Hurts 3, Love 4, Purdy 5, Cousins 6, Goff 7, Murray 8, Geno 9, and Caleb Williams 10. Big Sills. Me, I go Dak 1, Purdy 2, Love 3, Goff 4, Hurts 5, Stafford 6, Geno 7, Cousins 8, Murray 9, and Baker Mayfield 10, based off of 2023. Okay? Based off of 2023. You had Matthew Stafford ranked ahead of Jalen Hurts. That I disagree with. He didn't win his division. He didn't have a better statistical year. And he lasted just as many games in the postseason as the Eagles did. I mean, at least on my list, Dak won the division, had a better statistical year than Hurts. Purdy had a better statistical year, won the division and won the NFC championship, went to the fifth quarter in the Super Bowl, had a great passing year. Love had a great passing year, won a playoff game, beat the Cowboys at home. Goff won his division, played in the NFC title game, and went to the NFC championship. At least those guys had better seasons statistically and winning-wise. And actually, every one of those guys won more football games than what the Eagles did, except for the Green Bay Packers. So they won more. They outperformed them. You can't say he's better in 23. That's not made up, Prince. That's fact. PFF, I'm telling you, I'm not Caleb Williams. Dude, it's one thing to be critical of somebody. It's another thing to add other statistics into it. Technically didn't win the division. Technically, he did win the division. Wasn't handed to. Dude, they won the division because you imploded. Okay? Prince, that's not what happened. That's fake news. That's fake news. Fake news. Okay? Opinions. There's nothing with an opinion on that. Except the Williams thing, which gets me. I don't get it, right? Dak backdoored. That's not a. That's. So what? So what, Arthur? So what? I'll tell you what. His 37 touchdowns and 9 picks wasn't backdoor. That wasn't backdoor. Or do you think that was too? Was that backdoor too? All right. We're going to do something now. Got some pretty good intel here. Do you think Bradbury off the team in 4 days? I do. Khalid, thank you for the super chat. Okay. Thank you very much, Khalid. Yes, because then it's only 4-3 to the cap. That's why they've kept him on the team, and they don't want him at OTAs right now. Unless he shows up in the next 2 days, he's not going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. And what I don't get is I hear people saying maybe you get a late round pick for him. Who's going to want to pick up that contract? Why in the world would you pick up a $12 million contract and trade for him? For what? This isn't like the NBA where you're using last year contracts to clean up your cap in the NBA. That doesn't work like that. Why would a team just not wait for him to get released and then go highest bidder? If that's the case, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of people putting a lot of money. He doesn't have a lot of value right now. You think you're really going to get a 7th round draft choice for him? Good luck. And the money. Remember something. If he was making $1.4 million, probably so, you could probably get something for him. This guy's making double digits. He's over $10 million. Who's going to pick that contract? I wouldn't give you a 7th rounder for that. Why? Give you draft equity and pay $12 million for a guy who stunk last year. Why would I want the Eagle problems? What, I'm going to inherit the Eagle problems? Why would I do that? I'll just wait for the guy to get cut. Now, there's also a part, and I heard John McMullen say this, and I happen to agree with John. Hey, with Vic being a guy who is going to coach that team like Jonathan Gannon did, does James Bradbury have a bounce-back season? And do you keep that guy on the team? You got dead cap money anyway. Do you keep him on the team and just pay him? Eagles don't seemingly have a problem paying him. Plus, you're going to need as many good players back there as possible, because if you get rid of Bradbury, here's the case. Hey, guys, stop saying your secondary set. You're in helmets and shorts. Relax. Relax. You don't know you're set yet. You haven't seen those guys line up in a game against an opposing quarterback or team yet. You haven't seen shit yet. You haven't seen contact. You haven't seen tackle angles. You're going to get a good look in that Packer game in Brazil. Guarantee you. I promise you, Matt LaFleur is going to be putting, and you know who I'm attacking? If you got Quinyon Mitchell out there, I'm going right at him. I want to see what the kid's got. Hey, covering Eastern Michigan versus covering the Packers, that's quite a leap. To sit there and think you're going to be an all-pro corner in your first game. I want to see this. They ran circles around 2 Pro Bowlers or a Pro Bowler in Dallas this last playoff season. You could say whatever you want and have these fantasies on how you're set in the secondary. Well, let me see them play out. Let me see how they look. Arthur goes, Quinyon Mitchell's going to feast on the Packers. Okay, right, sure. His first game, he's an all-pro. Okay, typical Eagle fan. Great optimism. You should have that, though, Arthur. I want you to, honestly. You're only 3 months out. He better be. That guy has to be almost an all-pro. Because if you ain't bringing blitzes and you're not bringing any kind of pressure, he better be an all-pro. So he's an all-rookie, all-pro in your eyes. All right. Bar's been set by Arthur. Bar's been set. Sills, how long do you give him to develop into a pro cornerback? That's a great question. M. Escobar? That's a really great question. Here's what's going to have to happen. Escobar, unlike some of these idiots in here that think he's going to walk into an NFL game and know what game speed looks like at the NFL level when he has never been in a game speed game at the NFL level ever. Organized practices are not going to give that to you. Even exhibition football's not, but it's quality reps. So it's going to take him probably 6 weeks to get up to NFL game speed versus Mid-America Conference game speed. Now, practicing, this all depends too. If AJ and Devontae are giving him a good workout, that's going to accelerate it. But when you go from a college game to the pro game, it's lightning quick. And you have to get yourself built up to game tempo. So it's going to take you a little time to get you up to that game tempo. Remember, he's never played against professional football people in his entire life. How could you expect him to know even what that looks like yet? Has no idea. Okay? No idea what that looks like. Okay? Practice we're talking about. Hey, Slagger. Listen, I'll just say this to you. If AJ and Devontae work him out well, that'll bring him up to game tempo quicker. And that would be a really great thing that those two wide receivers are doing for those two young cornerbacks, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. If they're working hard with them, it's going to accelerate it. Instead of 6 weeks, it could take them possibly a month. That's what Jerry Rice used to do to all the quality secondary guys at the 49ers. They used to work them out. Hey, you can't cover me? Or if you can just hang with me, you're going to cover 95% of the rest of the league. Okay? So, it's a great question. It's a great question. That's how quick that's going to be. Okay? It's probably going to take him 6. But because of the two receivers you have in the building, that could accelerate it. Mitchell won't be right until October after Slim and AJ show him what time it is. Hey, picking. But I think that could accelerate if they're working him hard. I mean, yeah, October, that sounds about right. Yeah. And you know, by the way, picking, you're covering AJ Brown and Devontae Smith in practice and they're going hard at you. You're going to cover 85 to 90% of the league. I mean, that's the advantage of having really great players on your roster, is if they're working hard with the younger guys. And I'll tell you something. It would not shock me. One of the new directions that Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio are going to have, Vic Fangio needs that offense to really play hard in the exhibition season, practice hard in the OTAs, those organized team practices. You know why? His defense is behind that offense. Would we not agree on that? Because of the star power you have on offense, Vic's defense is behind because of youth and new faces. Hey, that's not made up. That's facts. That's not made up. New faces and youth are on the defense, so you're behind. Your offense has star power from Y to Z and in the secondary. Got star power across the board. I need my offense to work my defense over every freaking day that I possibly can. They can't have walkthroughs and they can't be lollygagging around, not practicing hard, and Sirianni calling camps. That defense needs all the help they can get. All the help they can get. That offense has, listen, if that Eagle offense pushes that Eagle defense, you're going to accelerate the entire group, not just the corner play. Even the linebackers. Actually, I think the linebackers probably need more help. Okay? I want to see Mitchell week 1 versus the Packers. Week 2 wide receiver, have him used to the timing. And once Slay is done, have him switch over. Martin, yes. 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 The defense is going to be behind because of youth and new faces. The offense, the Eagles, has to be the leaders in the offseason here. I want to see Mitchell week 1. Yep, we got that. Martin, I agree with you. I completely do. They're saying Trotter's looking like he might start. That's ridiculous. How could you get that off of a guy in helmets and shorts? He might start. How could you possibly say that when you haven't even seen him make a tackle yet? Every meaningful rep Mitchell gets in practice should be against AJ and Devontae to prepare him for the season. Absolutely, man. Dude, let me tell you what. If I'm going against AJ Brown and I'm Quinyon Mitchell, dude, I want to go against that guy every single practice, every rep, every single 9-on-7, every 7-on-7. I want to go against him as much as possible because you know why? That guy's going to show me what game tempo and NFL tempo looks like. That's what I want to see. And by the way, Martin, I don't want him working on wide receiver number 2. I want him working on A.J. Brown. Mitchell needs reps against wide receiver 2. No. Well, the one thing that you have the advantage of, Martin, is that I think personally Devontae runs better routes. So if that's what you mean, that Devontae runs better routes than AJ, AJ's more of a physical freak. And if that's what you mean, I see where you're coming from. Okay, I do. I can see where you're coming from. Okay, he runs better routes and he's more technically sound. Then you get the physicality of putting him on the other side. I heard that, JM. I heard that Vic, and I hear that from some coaches that he loves the guy Bond. The kid from New Orleans, right? I heard that. He's really high on him. Constantly talking about him. Has to shadow AJ and Smitty all camp. Anthony, so essential for him being ready for Green Bay. So essential. So essential. What a luxury to have 2 wide receivers like that on your football team. And then you draft young corners. Shit. A dream come true if you're a cornerback on the Eagles right now and you were drafted this year or even last year. That you got those kind of guys on your football team that you can line up against. The problem that you had a year ago, your head coach calling practices, calling camp early, not practicing hard. I mean, that wasn't just me saying it. Javon Hargrave said it. These guys need to work harder. They were not prepared. AJ's another level. Yeah, but he's not the technically sound guy. I don't believe he's the technically sound guy to Devontae. He's just better. Okay? He's just better. By the way, please, guys, we're trying to get to 200 or more likes. Please hit the like button. We appreciate it. Not this year. First mandatory minicamp since Dougie. I saw that, man. 4th through the 6th. I think that's the new coordinators pushing that. I think that's a great thing. Okay, Zach Braun, biggest season in tackles was 18. Solid. Well, Ultra Cowboy, I understand that. They're also counting on a guy who had 110 sack season in his entire 5-year career. I don't know how you count on Nakobe Dean. By the way, John McMullen makes more excuses up for Nakobe Dean than any person I've ever heard. Well, it's his top of his foot injury. Jesus criminy, guy. How many months are you going to miss over this? It is an injury, but Jesus criminy. I mean, this guy has sucked since he's been here. And he's been either in the tub or he's been not looking great on film. How much more are you going to go with this thing? Stop making things up about saying that a guy's got skill because you saw him at Georgia. It's not with playing for the Eagles. I'm sick of the excuses for this guy, Dean. Well, it's still the same injury. No shit. This is 9 months. Or how many months has he been on the IR? 6? You mean to tell me that you had like the last month and a half of the season or 2 months of the season where you're trying to heal that injury up? Then you have 4 months in the front end of this year and you're not ready? I know guys who have blown their knees out who are going to be ready this coming September. I saw Brock Purdy blow out his rotator cuff, and he was back on week 1 throwing and playing quarterback for the 49ers. Give me a break. How long are you going to kiss this guy's ass to make Howie look good in the building? Give me a break. Holy cow. These people make excuses up for people not doing their job. Well, Seals, you're being hard on him. He's hurt. I don't care. That's what this is. This is not about liking somebody. This is about accountability and playing. Are you ready or not? If you're not, next guy up. Thank God I'm not on a battleship where I have to sit there and hope my best gun guy doesn't go down, because if he does, we're going to put him back in there because he's dude, get him out and throw him overboard. It's time to throw Nakobe Dean overboard. Give me a break. Here's the thing, too. What pisses me off is that because that guy's in the building, he's taking quality reps away from other players that need those reps to get themselves prepared for 3 months from now. You take quality reps away. You want to hear what I think really hurt the Eagles too last year defensively? Dude, what was that kid's name that you guys got from Chicago? And then you had Zach Cunningham in there. I actually thought those two dudes were actually playing pretty well. Then what did? They dropped that kid and that candy ass in there, and it screwed the entire rotation up. Yeah, Nicholas Morrow. He was actually playing well. They were with a nice little chemistry there. Nope. Howie parachutes that dude in there and blows up everything again. Don't take reps away from people who are going to be there for you and are better. Tired of that. Dude, this is not about Howie being right in draft picks. This is about finding what you have on your 90-man roster and playing the best players that you can put out there to give you the best chance of winning, not making you look good or bad. Do you know what Roseman does when he puts Nakobe Dean? He makes the coaches look bad. That's why you have so many fucking firings. What do you actually think you're going to teach Nakobe Dean? You can't teach health. You can't teach health. You can't. Get this. What was Nolan Smith's problem last year? Let me guess. The linebacker coach, according to Howie. You know what the linebacker coach probably thought? He's not good enough to step on the field yet. That's put quality guys on the field. I don't care what that looks like. I don't care what that looks like. Preaching, no. I want the man who deserves the job to win the job, not the man who was drafted to get the job and have one assignment handed to him. Here, no coach in his right mind would have that guy start. That's a front office move. Ask Doug. He'll tell you. They tell you who to start on Sundays. Howard Eskin came in here and said that. One of the first shows I ever did. Doug didn't have control of his roster. He did. By the way, Sinbad, this is nothing personal with N'Kobe. He's unreliable. All right. Let me ask you something before we get on to the main topic here. You guys think you're better today as a roster than you were 1 year ago today? When Dean schools you, what will you do, Sills? Hey, when has he shown anything for you to make that comment, Reyes? When? He's shown no ability to play in this league. None. And here we are going into year 3. Great. Are you guys a better roster today on May 28th than you were a year ago? Ben says absolutely. 11 says yes. 215 says yes. That's why I prefaced it, Eduardo, by saying on May 28th of this year, are you better than you were as a roster a year ago? Yes, Carter's second year will explode. Yes. Okay, so you're a better football team without Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, Jason Kelsey, and a Pro Bowler in DeAndre Swift. You're better. You're better losing those players. Guy with 6.5 sacks, a guy with 11 sacks and a Pro Bowl, first team All-Pro, Jason Kelsey, and a guy who was the Pro Bowl running back last year, and not Saquon Barkley. You think you're better. Interesting. Swift was the starting running back for the Pro Bowl on the NFC with Christian McCaffrey last year. And you're better. Overall, yes. So you lose Fletcher Cox and Hassan Reddick, and you think you're better. Then you're going to lose Bradbury. Really? Listen to what people are actually saying in here to try to justify it. You're a better team without Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, Jason Kelsey, and DeAndre Swift. Really? A better roster today without those players on it. You're lying. You're lying. Just put that in the back of your mind. You got new faces on defense. And what else? You're younger. Get this. Nick says you're a better football team without Jason Kelsey, Hassan Reddick, Fletcher Cox, and DeAndre Swift. You're a better football team. Who actually believes that? Who believes that? Who believes that? So this team going to start 10-1 again? Barkley's way better than Swift. He wasn't a year ago. Again, I gave you a collective group of men. You're picking and segmenting one guy. I said Swift, Kelsey, Reddick, and Fletcher Cox. Those 4 men, you think you're better now than not having those 4 men on your team. I'm not picking one. I'm picking 4. All 4 of those players, you're better. By the way, I don't know what the secondary is going to – the young kids may play well. But today, May 28th, you think you're a better team. So you have a better center? You are going to get 6.5 sacks from what D tackle? Carter? Okay. You're going to get an all-pro first team performance from Jason Kelsey, and the tush push is going to work with Cam Jurgens? Okay. And you're going to get 11 sacks from Huff. That's just to make it even. You're not better. You're not better. So, the question mark comes down to youth. Now, is there a potential that you could have a higher ceiling than last year's team? Yes. Carter could play better. Barkley, for some crazy reason, could stay healthy. The corners can play well. And you might get the most overrated linebacker in pro football to step up. Do you see what Bleacher Report called your boy Devin White? The most overrated linebacker in the National Football League. I didn't call him that. Again, you may have a higher ceiling, though. You may have a higher ceiling. Isn't that crazy? I've been trying to tell you this here. Bleacher Report ranked all the most overrated players in pro football at every position. Eagles signed the most overrated linebacker in pro football. Once again, though, that team of a year ago didn't have a high ceiling. You might be better than 22. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. The Kelsey loss is probably going to be the biggest. Okay? I do think White will be good. We'll see. Kelsey's retirement is the equivalent of a quarterback. He called out D schemes and got to second level better than anyone. Scoop and slip, he was phenomenal at. He was tremendous at that. Tremendous. I think the defensive improvements offset the losses on offense. What defensive improvements? What are you talking about? Ben, where are you improved on defense? Where are you improved, Ben? I'm just curious. Where are you improved? Gardner Johnson? Yeah. Yeah. Gardner Johnson? Okay. Compared to what you had a year ago? Okay. Everywhere? That's a good segue. By the way, Xander's going to join us at 3:30. Gary Cobb at 4:30. Please hit the like button. Thank you guys so much. We're going to do something here. Strength and weaknesses. 2024 spreadsheet for your Eagles. Is it a strength or is it a weakness? Okay? And I'll say this to you, having talked to a couple people, who are at the first week of 50% Devin White is better. That wasn't the case last year, LJ. Morrow and Cunningham had higher linebacker grades than what White did a year ago. That's not true. That's a falsehood. They had higher grades. Made up. I would rather have a tougher regular season and have a deeper playoff push or Super Bowl win than to have a great regular season than be one and done. Q, that's kind of what happened with the Chiefs. That's kind of what happened with the Chiefs. All right. So we're going to do this. We're going to do strength and weakness. And I'm going to get your opinion. And then you tell me. Okay? All right. We'll do this with Xander, too, at the bottom of the hour. Jay Brown goes, Dan judges everyone off of 1 year. No, I judge Devin White off of what the Bucs did after 6 years. They moved from him. By the way, do you see what they did? They hate the guy so bad. Only Carson Wentz's jersey in the Eagles shop with number 11 on it is a cheaper NFL jersey than Devin White in the Buccaneers team shop. They dropped it from $50 down to $22. They hate that guy so bad, they're giving his jerseys away. They can't stand him so bad because he quit on him last year. That's a fact. Buccaneer people are telling me they're trying to, don't be shocked if they lower it to $8. That's what the Bucs think of him. Okay. Strength and weaknesses. Some good conversation coming out of OTAs, too. Offensive line, strength. Yes. Put them here. We're going to do it this way here. And they've got great depth. You got depth, and it's a strength. And if I were to rank the Eagle O-line, May 28th, one of three teams you could make the argument that are the best O-line in football. Okay? All right. This is an interesting one. Wide receiver, strength or weakness? Strength or weakness? Eagle wide receivers. Eduardo. There you go. JM. So this is a group conversation. Do you think this is a strength of the football team? Wide receiver. Suplex goes strength. What did he say? Obvious. You got two guys. Last year, your number 3 wide receiver position had only 36 catches. So is it strength? Slight strength. I think the position itself is not strong. I think you got two great players. You keep 6 wideouts. You understand that, right? You keep 6 wideouts. 6. Do you have 6? Do you have 4 other wideouts? in that group. Do you? You don't. I'm going to give it as a strength because of the two stars on the team. I think it's a strength and a weakness. You're only as strong as your weakest link. Bald Eagle, excellent. Watch this. I think it's a strength and a weakness. So you know where I'm going here. Is that fair? You have no depth yet. And you get two sensational players. Joseph goes, that's not fair. When I say you keep 6 wide receivers and you only have 2 that are reliable. It's a strength and a weakness. How are you stacked at wide receiver? What, the guys you drafted? How in the world do you know right now? What did I tell you a couple minutes ago? This team may have a higher ceiling. You have to wait and find out. Today on May 28th, that's a weakness and a strength because of the unknown. John Ross is 4-2. So was Queasy Watkins. Holy shit. Let's go to quarterback. Strength or weakness? I'm going to be interested to hear this. Strength or weakness? Our strength is our weakness. Dumbest take ever. Really? Where'd those 2 1,000-yard receivers get you last year? Nowhere. Because you didn't have versatility at the wide receiver position. You notice the teams that threw the ball all over the yard in the playoffs? Like Houston, like Green Bay, like Kansas City. Unlike you, throw into the numbers, predictable, and game plannable. So your strength last year was a weakness at the tail end of your season. All those great numbers those guys put up, it became predictable, and you were bad as a team. Get this. Those guys were great individually. You had a bad team. So how is that not a weakness? And now you're still not deep. We'll see. Hurts, strength or weakness? The receivers are not overrated. The position at times is. Strength with less turnovers. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth, Richard. Is it a strength or weakness? Depends on the game plan. Hurts is the game plan. I think it's a strength. And here's why. He's going into his 4th year starting. He's determined to right the ship from a year ago. He's got the talent around him. Because if he doesn't do it this year, as we've been saying, he'll never do it. So do you give him the benefit of the doubt? I think you have to because of the money. That's the only reason I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Is because the money you have tied into him. Can't go anywhere with him. You can't go anywhere with him until 2029. You're stuck with this. So you better make it work. The Eagles have to make this work. I have to. There's no way around it. If he sucks, you have him for another 4 years. If they can't turn it around like they couldn't with Wentz, you got him for another 4 years. I do agree. I think the Rams are going to be good. I think it's a strength. Put it on the strength side. And I like the depth. You got Pickett behind him. Looks pretty good, the quarterback room. A lot better than a year ago. Running back. Strength or weakness? Is this a strength or weakness on the Eagles? Running back. The only thing I'll say about that quarterback room is that you got two different styles of play. It'll be interesting to see what Kellen does. Strength. Weakness, we have one good back and the rest are questionable. That's my take. I think it's both. I think you have Saquon Barkley and nothing else. Is that fair? I can't think there's too many Kenny Gainwell fans in here. God forbid Barkley can't stay healthy, like Arthur says. Then it's a disaster. You have no depth. You have one really good back. Your running back room, in my opinion, is a weakness. Remember something. You keep 3 and you have 1 inactive. You have 4 backs on your team. Last year you had Boston and you had the kid Penny and you had DeAndre Swift. You had 3. Right now you got Barkley, Gainwell, and Shipley, a rookie. Gainwell can't block. He barely can catch. Shipley will see. And Barkley's your guy. I think it's both. This is going to be an interesting conversation. Your tight end position. Is it a strength or weakness? Is it a strength or weakness, your tight end position? I agree. I think it's a weakness. Sills, he's good. So was Bo Jackson. It's not to be determined. This is who you are today. To be determined. What, another year of being injured? It's a healthy strength? No. It's a weakness. The biggest underachieving player in your huddle the last 3 years has been your tight end. He's underachieved every year he's been in the league. Just about. He ain't no Zach Ertz. And I think he's got more talent. He's underachieved by design. The quarterback can't find him. Play calling. All of that. Okay. Well, that position is underachieved. It's a weakness. How many people think that Zach Ertz has lived up to the expectations of $15.5 million? And by the way, who's your backup? Calcaterra? Who's the backup there? Like, why didn't the Eagles bring Zach Ertz back as a backup instead of letting him go to Washington? I'm not asking him to play 62 snaps. But you're telling me Zach Ertz couldn't give you 15, 18 snaps a game? I think that relationship with Howie Roseman and Zach Ertz in the tunnel that night probably had a lot to do with that. Am I wrong? All right. So, four strengths, 3 weaknesses. And you know what, though? Here. What's crazy is they're all depth issues on offense. Don't get hurt. You can't afford one injury. Except in your old line, maybe. You can't afford an injury at wideout. You can't afford an injury at quarterback. You can't afford an injury at running back. Let's move on. Defensive line. Strength or weakness? D-line. Strength or weakness? Strength, good players, and depth. You have no depth on D-line. 0. Who's backing Milton Williams up? 38-year-old Brandon Graham? I heard Xander last week what he said. Sills, could you find anybody better out there than him? Probably not. But you're going to rely on a 37-year-old guy to give you about 20 snaps? What if Milton goes down? There's not a chance in hell that Brandon Graham could play 62% or 62 snaps a game. There's no chance. There's no chance he'll hold up to that. I'm not even sure he's preparing for that. He's in a different role now. I'm not suggesting to you that he's not going to be ready for the season. That's not who a guy like that is. And I'm not suggesting, and if I came off like I'm suggesting that, that's not right. But he's not going to play 62 snaps. So if Carter goes down, who takes his spot? You got one D tackle. What's Josh Sweat's role in this? I'll tell you what they've done with Josh Sweat. I don't know what his role is. You going to play him at OLB? Or are you going to play him in a forefront? What are you going to do with him? It just seems that, for some reason, the Eagles have gone completely south on him. He's not even starting anywhere. Here, this is what I'll say. Do you like Milton Williams, Sills? I do. Do you like Jordan Davis at nose? I actually do. Do you like Carter? A lot. Do you like Josh Sweat? I do. Those aren't 4 bad guys. Look, what team has depth at every position? Hey, Prince, this is what I'm telling you. If you think you're going to roll into an NFL season and one injury is not going to determine the fate of your team this year, you're in that group too. Yes. Thank you, Prince. You're not as deep as you think you are. You can't afford injuries. You can't afford a injury, really, in some key spots. You can't afford an injury at wideout. If AJ's out, your season's over. Hurts ain't finding people or developing wideouts. He can't even find a tight end who's never healthy. You got to pray a running back is going to be healthy too. Averages 13 to 12. How many games does he even average? 12? You got a lot leaning on, and you don't really have a ton of depth. 22, you were the deepest team I had ever seen. You guys are confirming what I'm pointing out here. No team can afford injuries. Yes, I know. You're not. You're just as long as everyone else in the boat with everybody, including teams like the Rams, including teams like the Bucks, including teams. Detroit's deep. Yes, you have no depth. So let's get back to this. Is defensive line a strength or weakness? Yes or no? I don't know it's a weakness. I don't know it's a weakness. Your depth is not very good here, but you're young. Can I tell you what I would do? I would totally sign Adama Sue. I'd get through training camp. He's working out, and I would bring him in. And I would have him as my rotating defensive tackle behind, play him at no. I could play Sue at nose. And if I had to, I could put him in a 5 technique because he can play because he's played it. And I brought that. You know what's funny, Nick? I brought Calais Campbell up 2 weeks ago. Everyone in here laughed. Now Calais Campbell is a name that everyone's talking about. Isn't that funny? You know how I know that? Clint Hurt reached out to him because he's a Hurricane. Jesus criminy. Way to be late to the table, everyone. Yeah, break. Clowney over Campbell. Are you under the impression that Jadeveon Clowney has had a better career than Calais Campbell? Are you under some crazy guys that he's had a better career? And he's a better ball player? Are you really? Calais Campbell's got 100. Calais Campbell's got 100 sacks in his career. And remember something, Calais Campbell's not coming in to be a starter. He's coming in to be a role player. I don't think your D-line is a weakness. Linebackers. Weakness or strength? I'm not even really going to debate it. It's a weakness. I think your linebacking core, until otherwise proven, is the worst group in the NFC East. As a matter of fact, the top 42 linebackers in the National Football League. Not one Eagles listed. Here are the top 23. I got tired of writing them because there's no Eagles. Fred Warner's 1. Roquan Smith's 2. Demario Davis, New Orleans is 3. Devontae David, Tampa Bay is 4. Bobby Wagner, Washington is 5. Patrick Queen, 6. Pittsburgh. Tremaine Edmonds, Chicago, 7. Number 8, C.J. Mosley, New York Jets. Number 9, Quincy Williams, New York Jets. Number 10, Foye Okunin, Jacksonville. Number 11, Blake Cashman, Minnesota. Number 12, Chicago Bears, T.J. Edwards. This is NFL.com ranking the top 40. I got tired of 23. Number 13, Matt Milano, Buffalo. Number 14, Dre Greenlaw, San Francisco. Number 15, Devondre Campbell, San Francisco. San Francisco's got 3 guys in the top 15. in linebackers, and you ain't got one in the top 40. Number 16, Frankie Louvu, Washington. Washington's got 2 in the top 16. Jordan Hicks, Cleveland. Eric Kendricks, Dallas, 18. Logan Wilson, Cincinnati, 19. Ernest Jones, Rams, 20. Bobby Okurki, Giants, 21. Zahari Franklin, Indianapolis, 22. Come on, man. Weakness. Massive weakness. Massive. DBs, safeties. We'll do the safety position here. Strength or weakness? Strength or weakness? Strength? Gardner Johnson and Reed Blankenship are your starting safeties. How do you feel about that? How do you feel? Take it? I don't think it's horrible. How can you say CJ's a dog when he was on IR for 14 games last year? Zimmer or Vic? Who would you rather have? Zimmer's a Super Bowl champion. I don't have a problem with the safeties. About your corners. As of right now, Bradbury and Slay. And if you go Quinyon Mitchell, rookie, and Slay. A rookie and Slay. So when you play Cincinnati, are you lining up Quinyon Mitchell versus T. Higgins? Is that what you're doing? Okay. Like I said, I think that cornerback position right now, I don't know. I could almost put incomplete. Last year they were brutal. 3 picks out of 2 guys that you paid $25 million to. One guy probably won't be here. So now you're going to go young. So today on May 28th, all I know is you got a rookie that's going to start, and you got a 32-year-old Slay. How do you really look at your corner positions? And try to do it with some sort of balance in your head. A 32-year-old corner and a rookie. How do you, and then with Reed Blankenship and Gardner Johnson as your safeties, how do you look at that back end? Really? Isaiah Rodgers? I don't know. We'll see if he can play the position. Well, I don't know. I got a feeling Mitchell is going to be the best Eagle corner ever. Okay. All right. There's nothing wrong with that take, by the way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Who was top 5? You know, when Gardner Johnson is healthy, he's top 5. He's a playmaker for sure. Now, Xander, we're good. Let's keep it rolling. I'm going to do this on the corners. and I hate to do this and straddle the fence with you guys. I'm going to do incomplete. Because if you do start a rookie and a 32, 33-year-old corner, I can't on May 28th say that's going to look good. I don't know. I know this. Every single coordinator is going to go after the rookie until proven otherwise. And they're going to throw things at him. Now, again, I told you, you have Devontae and AJ in the building. If they're getting him ready, that's going to be a massive advantage. Coaches, Nick Sirianni, Vic Fangio, and Kellen Moore. You want to hear something? The only coach in that names that I just named with Super Bowl experience is Nick. Isn't that crazy? The only coaches that I just named with Super Bowl experience is Nick Sirianni. Plus or minuses, strength or weakness, coaching. Look, you're not going to get hurt with Vic Fangio or Kellen Moore. You're not going to get hurt. Vic said it very clearly about a month ago. You know what he said? Someone asked him the question, what makes for a good defense? Good players. Good players. Schemes are overrated. Now, situational play calling isn't. We're going to do this here with Xander, too. We're also going to do it with Gary Cobb. Hopefully, I haven't heard back from Gary Cobb yet. Hopefully, 4:30, we're able to get Gary on, and we get him aboard with us. Let's bring Xander in now. Xander's been killing it, by the way.
Big Sales, what's up, brother?
How was your holiday, my friend?
It was great, man. I don't like to call it a holiday because we're remembering people that gave their lives for us, but I do understand what you mean. I was at a Memorial Day ceremony yesterday, which was great stuff down in Cape May, New Jersey. Beautiful shore town, beautiful beach town. They do a great job on Memorial Day, but he said, and the guy who was giving the speech said, I don't say have a happy Memorial Day. Have a peaceful Memorial Day. And I thought that was good. So I hope everybody had a peaceful Memorial Day. I know I did, Sills. I hope you did as well.
What I do is I always call it reflecting, with the people that served our country. So glad to hear that too,
yeah,
man.
We sit here and talk football, Dan. I mean, we got
I get it too, man. But there's nothing wrong with that team. That's for dang sure, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Xander, on May 28th, do you believe that the Philadelphia Eagles are a better roster today than they were a year ago?
May 28th of last year?
Yeah, to this year right now.
Oh, it's tough because I think we feel like we do with some of the offseason moves and the benefit of it just having it just happen. But it's tough to argue Saquon Barkley covers up the loss of Jason Kelce. I mean, offensively, I guess maybe that's a 1-to-1. I think Kelsey's a bigger loss than Saquon has gained. So, and defense is tough because you lost Fletcher Cox. I mean, how many snaps did Fletcher Cox play last year? 700 snaps. So, the defense has a higher upside. It has more potential maybe than last year, but I wouldn't say they had more talent. No. But we'll see it. We'll see how it all plays out.
No. That's my take, Xander.
Yeah.
I didn't think last year's team had a huge upside. This team has a huge upside because of the youth. Gonna
play to it. That's the problem, right? Like you always say, potential means they haven't done it yet. Like potential's not what we want, but that is what we're looking at.
Well, here, I put him in as a group more than just singling out. Like Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, Jason Kelce, and even DeAndre Swift just signed a $9 million contract in Chicago. Wasn't like he stunk too. He had Pro Bowl consideration. Every single one of those guys, except for Fletcher, who had 6.5 sacks himself, had Pro Bowl consideration. So when you lose 4 guys like that off your roster and the experience factor, I mean, to me, I don't believe you're a better roster right now.
No, but I will say I think, and I don't know this. Actually, I would say I know this. The Eagles have better coaches this year. I don't know if they're great coaches, but I know they're more experienced coaches and they're better coaches than what we had last year. We had two guys, which hindsight's always 2020, but why in the world did we go that route of two guys who have never been a coordinator before in their life? I don't understand it looking back on it, but we do have experience now. So hopefully these guys can put it together. I think our coordinators being better makes up for any loss in talent, because it's not like we didn't lose. I mean, Kelsey's the biggest loss of the offseason, but it's not like we had a purge of players. I mean,
well, I think when you lose 18 sacks between Fletcher Cox and Hassan Reddick,
yeah,
where you're counting on pressure coming from because he doesn't blitz much.
Yeah, and Hassan Reddick, shoot, I wasn't even thinking of him.
How about this? You got 19 sacks that you now, 6.5 and 11. That's 17.5 sacks that you lost off that team a year ago.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough to consider. That doesn't mean they're not going to play as good. You know, they might still play great.
May 28th, you got 18 sacks off that team.
Yeah, his defense probably has less talent this year than it did last year. Yeah.
With more upside.
More upside, but what does that mean? Hope is not a strategy. Even Howie Roseman says that one. So.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. Absolutely correct. Okay. By the way, this mandatory OTA, I said something earlier in the program before I get to strengths and weaknesses here. If you practice hard enough and that offense works out that defense and you get Quinyon Mitchell up to game speed and NFL game tempo along with Cooper DeJean and even maybe Trotter Jr. or some of these other guys that you have, if you get them up and you practice hard, that transition, Xander, from college to pro will be accentuated. To me, I think this has got a lot to do with what you said just a couple minutes ago about the experience and the coaching staff that, hey, we can't lollygag our ass into this. We have got to really be more focused than we have been, say, in the last 3 years. You agree?
100%. And they're kind of showing that, which is good. Like, this is the first year under Sirianni that they're having a mandatory minicamp. Now, I'm not going to hang my hat on that, but here's what I'll say about Quinyon Mitchell. And back to the point about defense. If Quinyon Mitchell has a rookie year, and this is high expectation. If he has a rookie year like Sauce Gardner did, like he came into the league, he was cornerback ready. He was
Cincinnati too, not a Power 5.
Right. He was a NFL ready cornerback on day one. If Quinyon Mitchell can be that, this defense will be better. Then I would answer your question as the defense did get better. But again, that's a big if. Like, I don't know if Quinyon Mitchell is going to come in and be that. I would like him to be that. I think he can be that. I think what you're seeing so far are signs pointing in that direction. But, you know, being good in helmets and shorts doesn't mean you're going to be good at stopping an NFL offense.
But this is what you get with helmets and shorts and OTAs. Ready? How much information is he retaining? Right. You get a chance to look at footsteps. Remember something here, Xander, think about what OTAs with a zone defensive coverage guy is. Dude, how much contact do you get in a game anyway when you're playing zone? Very little.
Very little.
So you're really getting a full-blown view if you're Quinyon Mitchell or you're Cooper DeJean and you're at one of the cornerback positions, you're getting a game speed tempo look at what it's kind of going to look like. Now it's controlled. So but you're getting more of what it's going to look like in a scheme that you're being asked to play. And let's not forget, those two players played zone coverage in college at both Toledo and also at Iowa. So they have a sense of what he's asking them to do.
Yeah, I guess we're sticking with the zone coverage thing. They continue to go down that route.
It's control and contain. That's him.
You can't replicate, though, the physical. I know we're going to play zone and there's not as much physical. You can't replicate the physicality of an NFL game.
No.
And like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Like the shirts and short stuff at OTAs, it's really a place where the most athletic players thrive. And I think that's kind of why you're hearing Devin White looks great, right? Like Devin White's always been that big dude that can run a 4.5. So he's always going to look good in this instance. Does he have instinct? Can he handle the physicality of the NFL? Can he handle the guards pulling and getting to the second level? Those are the things I want to see that you'll never see at this time. And we can't see it until the season starts, but that's why I'm so dang excited for the season. I got so many things I'm looking for. And even just doing the shows, doing it with you, doing Birds 365, I'm so locked in every different detail of the team. There's a lot of things to watch, a lot of things we need to go right though, which can be scary.
Here's my problem with Devin White. All those things you mentioned have never really been a question. To me, it's his mental fortitude.
Yep.
I mean, do you allow things to beat you up? Do you allow business of the game to get you down?
I thought you nailed it on Friday when you talked
That, to
about him
me,
getting the business of the game.
I think the business of the game beat him down. But hey, Xander, I'm going to tell you something that I rarely tell people. Dog, you go home sometimes because the game wears you out. You look in the mirror and you go, I don't want to do this anymore.
I believe it, man.
Hey, and you're making all that money, and then you catch yourself going, what am I saying? Dude, the game is so mental. And some of you are going, hey, suck it up, man. I go to work every effing day, and I completely get it. You're so right. But when you're in that environment like that, man, and there's so much pressure on you to succeed like that, again, I'm not making excuses, and I don't want it to sound soft. However, Prince, I think you were like the first guy kind of like to hit on that the business of the game beat him up. And that's my problem. Xander, if he goes into a 3-game slump and all of a sudden he plays bad, is it going to go like this? Well, shit, F it. Here I go again. I don't think anybody's questioned the 4.5 40 or the 4.4 40 or the being able. This guy was the captain of the team.
It might not mean much.
He was the captain of the team that won the Super Bowl in year 2. I mean, what happened to that guy? That's the guy I want. When I saw that guy, you were like, holy shit. That kid came out of LSU like his hair was on fire.
Yeah, you know what's funny, Souls? He really didn't even play that good that year either. It was
the
playoff run.
All-Pro, I think, something like that.
It was the playoff run though, where he took his game to a new level and was that 3-game span that they went to that's what John McMullen always talks about, how it was like a 3-game run of Devin White being probably the best linebacker in football. And then it fell off a cliff from there. Wait, Big Sills, before we continue, what's up with Mark Holmes?
I heard he's coming.
Apparently he's chirping you on his show.
You know what? It's easy to chirp Big Sills when you've been hiding in like witness protection because the Eagle fans have beat the living shit out of him like he was a jailhouse cellmate. You guys have absolutely spanked this guy. So if he feels like jumping on Wednesday, and by the way, Mark, this goes out to you. You don't have to send little text messages to Xander. You can send him to Big Sills. I'm
looking at it right now. I texted him back. Make sure you text Sills, the host of the show. Nothing.
Make sure you text me, honey.
Yeah.
Not your little girlfriends. Come on, man.
Come on, Holmes. Welcome back to the Thunderdome, Holmes.
Hey, man, if you know what, though? I've learned one lesson about you guys in here, and I've learned one lesson about the program, and mostly Philly fans. I'll just say this to you. If you can't take it, what am I going to say? Mark Holmes is on a milk carton. Yes, he is.
Put him on the milk carton.
Yeah, he's on the milk carton.
Him and Kobe Dean are on the milk carton.
Aaron Rodgers TP messages out with smoke signals. Have you seen Mark Holmes? If so, please contact the Dallas Cowboys. Don't worry, their lines are open because they have no postseason ability to make the playoffs. Just go ahead and call it 1-800-1 and done. Here we go. All right, Xander, we're going to play this game with you now. We're going to play strength or weakness. Now, remember, I'm not talking about one dude or two dudes. I'm talking about a group.
Yeah.
Okay? You keep 10 O-linemen or 9 O-linemen. Depends. Okay?
Right.
Offensive line.
Strength. Still got Mailata, still got Dickerson coming back. Jurgens has proven he's at least a formidable NFL lineman where he can stop the defensive line. Let's see how he does at center. I think he's got a bigger, more expanded role there. So still a lot of question marks, but then you have your staple right tackle coming back, Lane Johnson. I like the depth. You also have Jeff Stoutland. They added Mekhi Becton. I'm comfortable saying that O-line will still be a strength for this football team.
Steen, too,
Steen's a question mark. But even with Steen as a question mark, what I just said, I think this offensive line, even if he's not, I think he will be, but even if he's not, I think this offensive line is going to be a good offensive line.
Did you think the right guard position was an issue last year?
No.
Okay. And I don't think it's going to be this year either, because you know why?
I mean, you have a different guy playing.
You have Stoutland. Yeah, but long as Stoutland's in the building,
exactly. Yep.
I don't really care. I think he can change out a spark plug and it's the same engine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
This is going to be an interesting one. Wide receiver.
Strength. Get
I
two
think
guys in the
strength
two
and
guys in the
weakness.
top 10. Well, two guys in the
Dude, they
top
keep
10.
6.
Yeah, I know, but Dan, who's going to get the majority of the production? 90% of the wide receiver production is going to come through A and B.
Your wide receiver group is what? A strength? With 6 guys and you use 2. And you become predictable with just those 2.
You don't become predictable with those.
You were 1 and 7
good.
down the stretch. Everyone knew where the play was going.
Dan, even if something is good
Your
enough.
numbers didn't pan out last year, dude, for winning.
For winning, yeah, that's a different argument. From a wide receiver perspective, they were a positive for the football team.
No, they lost.
Well, that's a team game. It's not evaluated on the wide receiver play.
I'm asking, so you think 2 guys out of 6, what are the other 4 going to do?
Dan, the last 4 make up 5% of the production in the room.
How come the teams that went further into playoffs didn't have any of those guys like Green Bay, Houston, who else? Kansas City, all those teams weren't relying on 1 or 2 guys. They were relying on a collection of guys.
I get what you're saying. It's definitely a drop off after the top 2, but the top 2 are good enough.
Here's what happens too when I say this. Okay, like you said last week, AJ goes down, you're finished.
You're finished. But I'm not. I mean, you can say that about literally every single football team in the NFL.
No way. Green Bay has a collection of young guys that they spread the ball
you're picking
around.
Positions. You just said that about a different position a minute ago. If Patrick Mahomes goes down, their season's done. Well, no shit.
That's only 1 quarterback on the field.
Yeah, we rely a lot on our skill position players. Our football team is built
Who
differently.
in Green Bay did they rely on to get the ball around a yard for those 36 touchdowns that kid loved?
Jordan Love.
Right. Okay, and I didn't even name Mahomes. I'm saying this, Andrew. Other teams can lose receivers because of the quality of quarterback play in the pocket.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think Jalen Hurts has proven to show that we have that luxury yet. I will give you that. That's not to say I don't think he can show us that. But A.J. Brown went down in the playoff game last year, and we put up 9 points in the lowly Buccaneers. So, yeah, all signs would point to Big Sills being correct that if we lose one of them guys, we're screwed. But you're going to tell me that the position overall is a net negative?
I'm going to tell you the group, yeah, because you only have 2 guys that you count on, and there's 4 other guys you're wasting roster spots for.
Depth is a problem. The position overall is a positive for the football team.
How in the world do you have 2 1,000-yard receivers and have done nothing with them the last 2 years?
Because it's a team game, Dan. You can't just put a playoff.
Well, then those numbers are irrelevant.
They've always been
irrelevant. Kirk Cousins' numbers are irrelevant. So are theirs.
I know, but you still want good football players, Dan. You have good football players at the position.
I didn't say you didn't. I'm saying that when you can have the guy with the greatest numbers on the planet, DK Metcalf and the other kid up there, they got 1,000-yard receivers. What are they doing with them?
Yeah, it depends on your quarterback. When you're Patrick Mahomes, you would rather have 4 serviceable guys than the superstar. They've shown that.
I'm not even mentioning him.
I am, because I'm saying, and you could even go as far. We'll see how Josh Allen does without Stephon Diggs, because he wasn't great before Stephon Diggs, by the way. But that's a different type of quarterback. I'm not even talking about skill level. Jalen Hurts is not that type of quarterback where he spreads the ball around constantly. That's not his ball game. So 1 and 2, we need to be great.
Okay. So if they have another year where these 2 guys get 1,000 yards and you don't do dick and you're 1 and done, what are all those numbers getting you?
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to lose because of that. It's a team game. Last year it was the defense. It was this. There's a million things that could go wrong for you to lose a game.
I don't get the point.
It's the same argument with the 4,000 passing yards.
I don't get the point of paying all that money if you're not using these guys to help you win Super Bowls. I just don't get it.
I see what you're saying, but we did go to a Super Bowl with those guys. Like,
well, you did.
Yeah, and we almost won. And they were productive. By the way, they were highly productive in that game. A.J. Brown had almost 100 yards, 98 yards passing and a touchdown in that game.
Okay, we shall see. 2 years in a row.
I think. But your answer, the game, yes, positive. Receivers are positive.
Running back. Hang on, Xander. I disagree. It's also about scheme. Green Bay out-schemed the Cowboys, but also to the 49ers with 2 star wide receivers and a star tight end that they use. Remember something?
That's a good point, though, by Prince, because that does show, and that's kind of what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but Purdy
Worried
spreads the
if
ball
they're
around
running
better
back.
than Hurts.
Well, Purdy spreads the ball around. It's a different type of quarterback. I'm not even talking about talent level. I'm talking about type of quarterback. But that does show. I mean, what do you say about the 49ers? They have great receivers.
Because they spread the ball around. Get this. Did Debo have 1,000 yards? I don't think he did.
Okay, so do you think Kellen
he had
Moore is going to
800.
spread the ball around more in this offense?
What?
You think Kellen Moore is going to go to a more spread offense? Yes?
Probably.
He's going to try, right?
Yeah.
This is where the first
Yeah.
time I was on your show, you remember I said,
Yeah, I do.
this is a make it break or year for Hurts. And that's
No,
what
I
I mean.
think
I
he's
don't
going to
mean
spread them out more.
Hurts could have shit the bed this year. He's still going to be the quarterback of the Eagles. They're not moving on a $100 million cap hit. But
2019, 29.
Kellen Moore's offense is going to force him to spread the football around. If he can't do it, you're going to know real quick because Kellen Moore won't be spreading the ball around.
You know, people don't realize that kid Ayuk, when he 215 goes, Purdy doesn't have 2 good wide receivers. Dude, I think Ayuk had 1,300 yards last year. I think he had a big year last year. I think Debo missed too much time. I think he had like 600-700 yards. And that guy still threw for 4,100 yards and 30 touchdowns.
Well, how can sure enough say he doesn't have 2 good wide receivers? He
does have. Yes, he does.
Yeah,
when healthy, they're as good as anybody. This is going to be interesting here. And I'll flat out tell you right out of the gate, I think this is a weakness. Tight end.
Well, we skipped running back because we went back.
Oh, running back. I'm sorry.
Running back's tough because, boy, after Saquon Barkley, it's like it's a humongous gap. So I don't like Kenny Gainwell. I've never liked Kenny Gainwell. They love this style of running back of these dudes who are just out of the backfield that can do a bunch of different things. The only way the running back room is a positive is a strength this year is if Saquon Barkley is a true 3-down back and he plays every game. If he gets hurt,
I'll give him 14. Play 14 games, we're good.
But what games are you missing? If you play 14, but you miss the games in January,
no,
I don't care. If you miss a couple games in November, all right, fine. Yeah, agreed. But boy, it matters. We need you when it counts. And Will Shipley is not somebody I want to count on. I'd rather get a big back, and I've been vocal about that. I like a north to south runner, especially for Jalen Hurts. He doesn't like to throw the ball out of the backfield. So, but yeah, you could say that running back. I'm going to ride the fence. I'm going to go political activist on you. And I'm going to say it's right up the pike. It's a middle.
So you're going to go push.
I'm going to push.
Okay. All right. That's kind of, I guess when I do weakness and strength, it's a push because I think it's both. Because if Barkley, like you said, if he plays 14 games and he's healthy for the playoffs, it's a positive. But because of the lack of depth, he's not going to get a lot of rest time. And one of the reasons DeAndre Swift wasn't used down in the red zone, they were afraid to push that number by putting more reps on him. So, I mean,
yeah, John McMullen's kind of changed my thinking on the running backs. Like before I talked to John about this, because we had a nice little deep dive on Saquon and the Eagles using him. Before I had that conversation, and I still think this, but how they were going to use Saquon in my eyes, versatile, can throw him the ball out of the backfield, can line him up in the slot if you need to, good blocker out of the backfield. He's that every down back that's obviously supremely gifted athletically. I thought it was going to be a huge positive, but John McMullen thinks they're not going to use him like that at all. Like, take what you think they're doing with McCaffrey in San Francisco. They're not going to do that. That's what McMullen is telling me he believes they're going to do. So if they do that, boy, I think the running back will be a letdown this year.
The discipline says having Carson Wentz as a backup is great for Kansas City. The tight end is going to be huge this year. Number 3 won't see the football. I think what Carson Wentz has done the last 2 years, having worked with Sean McVay and with Matthew Stafford and now with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, is arguably one of the best things he could possibly do for his career, what's left of it. I don't know what it means, and I'm not forecasting anything where he's going to get an opportunity, but we've seen other guys like Baker Mayfield and some of these other guys get opportunities too. So I think there will be a viable opportunity out there for him after this year. So, but I don't have a crystal ball on what I think it works out for him because he's also kind of in that Devin White room with me. Hey, dude, it's one thing to say you have a bad knee injury or, you know what I'm saying, Xander, you have a bad foot. It's another thing where you say you have bad character. I mean, when you have that issue, that's not coachable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder with you're talking about Carson Wentz, right? I
Yes.
wonder with Carson Wentz, and I'm not a Carson Wentz guy. I hate how he quit. I thought he quit on us in that Seattle playoff game the year after. Boy, I do wonder sometimes. I mean, Jalen Hurts, his cast of players in Philadelphia has been better than any quarterback for the Eagles in recent history.
Oh, absolutely.
Really, really,
Even
almost
McNabb.
full history. McNabb.
Randall.
Wentz had a 4K passing yard. You're throwing to Travis Fulgham. Like, maybe we would have a way different thought process if Wentz was surrounded with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
He's a better passer in the pocket than Hurts.
Yeah, he moves the ball. He's a true passing quarterback. It's a different style. Yeah.
But Jalen sees the game better.
I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, I think he's a better decision maker when in the right offense.
I think Jalen Hurts is a better professional. I think Jalen Hurts is more mature man. I think Jalen Hurts is more athletically gifted, and Carson Wentz was pretty damn athletically gifted too. He was a big boy. He could run. He could pass. He could do everything. I just think they're two different styles of quarterbacks. I'm just saying for the benefit of it, I would have liked to have seen Carson Wentz get some talent and then maybe evaluate him, because we are evaluating him off a pretty crappy cast.
How about bringing back Sanders to back up Barkley? Here, I'll tell you what I would say to that.
I don't
Jeff.
know why Sanders would want to do that, but that would be good. They played together, by the way, at Penn State, Dan.
They did.
Yeah.
And what I would want, though, is I want a guy back there that is a good pass pro running back. And I don't really think Sanders is a special guy at that skill set.
No, and he's the same thing, dude. How many more running backs do we want that bounce the ball outside? Seriously.
No.
He's
not good in traffic.
Running back. It doesn't.
He runs the contact.
I want a guy that's going to take the ball and plow it through the back of the offensive line.
Here's the difference.
Here's
the difference in Barkley and Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders runs the contact. Barkley evades it. He's better in traffic
too, Dan.
He's better but he's better in traffic on being able to get off blocks. If Sanders gets hit, he's down.
Yeah, and I remember the first play or the second, whatever it was, the first series of our Super Bowl when we were playing versus the Chiefs. The first handoff to Miles Sanders. The guy has a hole. He could have gotten a 4 or 5 yards to start the drive off right. He kicks it outside, and then he fumbled. We didn't lose the fumble. The fumble went out of bounds, but he fumbled the ball, and then they didn't use him again. And I'm like, I don't really blame him. This is the Super Bowl, son. Get north to south, get down, do your job, and do it well. You're going to fumble the ball by kicking it outside? Come on. So I really want to north to south. I did
fault them for that. You took 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns out of your offense because the guy put the ball on the ground. You got there with him. So you bailed on him?
Offense was not a problem in that game. The turnover was costly in the first half, and the end of the game, we didn't get the ball. Clock management by Andy was good. The playoff, the penalty killed us.
I'm not putting 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns in a box. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, but it's high highs and low lows. And in a game like that, you can't afford the low lows.
Not me. All right. Let's go to the defensive side. Defensive line, strength or weakness?
Strength. Jalen Carr's strength. I think he's going to have a big year this year. A lot of projection, though, there, right? I mean, projecting on Jalen, projecting on Jordan Davis, projecting on Milton Williams, projecting on Nolan Smith. Maybe that's a weakness. That might be a weakness. I might have just told
and depth. And depth.
The depth at tackle is terrible. The depth at edge, I think, is okay if Nolan Smith is going to be a guy.
Again, you're dropping another question mark on me there. If he's going to be, there's another question mark. Can Milton Williams play the 5 technique? Have you seen him play a 5 technique?
No, but that's who would do it. And John, they're not going to play a 5 technique if Jordan Davis goes down or is out of the game.
Okay, so they're going to put him back inside? Are they going to put him back inside, or are they going to keep him at? Are you going to put Sweat out there? I mean, who's your depth behind? If you played, here's your 3 guys right now. If you're playing first, let's go 3. You're going to go Milton Williams, Davis and Carter. If you go 4 defensive linemen, you're probably going to go Sweat, Carter, Davis. Who's your other end? Nolan Smith? Holy shit. That's enormous.
No, Bryce Huff.
Bryce Huff, the lowest rated run stopper, and wow, man, that's
maybe that's where you put Milton, and BG is also effective against the run.
Okay,
but that's relying a lot on an old guy.
Issue. You think BG could play 62 plays a game?
No, BG's not doing that either. It doesn't matter what I think. BG's not playing that many snaps.
I think this is one of those positions where you look at the guys and you see, again, this is an upside conversation here. You're projecting again here. This is a Howie projection. Hey, Sills, do I think that Jordan Davis will be in a natural position at nose? I think it benefits him. And I think Vic's going to know how to use him. Jalen Carter, I have the same opinion of him that I had of him on draft day. He's going to continue to get better. He's going to continue in his second year to get better. He's going to see the game more. I have not wavered on anything with that kid. I think that kid's projecting and aiming in the right direction. Milton Williams playing a 5 when he's traditionally inside. And if you play him inside, so you're going to run him down inside the defensive tackle position. If someone gets hurt, you're going to bring Sweat over to the other end. And then you're going to rely on either Huff or Nolan Smith to play the odd end.
Yeah, that's a tough position. They don't have that. They don't have enough depth there, and still, like, I love Jalen Carter. I think Jalen Carter is going to be a star, but we haven't seen that yet through a full season. Now, I mean, he was a rookie last year. I think he overperformed for being a rookie, but you're right. There's a lot of projection there and not a lot of depth. If one thing goes wrong there, you could be in trouble, and you're counting on guys that you don't. I don't know.
Nolan Smith, I'm okay counting on guys with great.
Put Nolan Smith on the milk carton, Dan. I think he doesn't look like he's going to be a dominant edge in the NFL. No,
I don't.
I hope he is. I really do, but I don't see it.
Before I move on. Oh no, we're gonna. Oh yeah. Well, before I do this, why is John McMullen's love child Nakobe Dean? Like, I mean. Yeah, what is that with that guy, man? I mean,
he did say today after our segment with the guest, I'm not sure if you were on for the whole show. He did say he hasn't quite shown anything, but you're right. He's given him a lot of excuses. I'm done with the excuses on Nakobe Dean. It's put up or shut up, and I think you will see that this year for him, though. Like, they can't afford to live and die on the Nakobe Dean hill.
Linebacker, strength or weakness?
Weakness.
Group.
Weakness.
I'll tell you what you're hearing.
Major weakness, actually.
I'll tell you what I like, what I'm hearing now. Vic is pumping this guy, Zach Bond, up like he's like Ray Lewis.
You're falling for it.
Well, I'm falling for it because that's coming from a guy who doesn't blow smoke up anybody's tailbone.
Yeah, but he still has to. I mean, he's a new coordinator. He's been around the game long enough to know that there's some level of a game that has to be played. You're going to tell me Zach Bond is going to make a difference on a Super Bowl contending football team?
Listen, I told you last week, I've pulled back a little bit. I just want them to be decent.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that for sure. If you want them to be anything more than that, you're going to be disappointed. Anybody that thinks that. So
no, I just want them to be decent.
Yeah, I want them to be decent as well. That's all I want from the whole defense. I know that I don't like saying that because I almost feel goofy saying all I want you to do is be mediocre. What a loser's comment, right? Hey, just be medium.
Yeah, but I think the NFL too with these rule changes.
Yeah, you're right.
Tackle and all that shit. How good is
our offense or how good is our football team if the defense goes from 30th to 15th and Hurts cuts down the turnovers?
Super Bowl.
Well, forget the personnel at that point, right? If your defense becomes 15th, I don't care who's out there. If your defense is 15th to 18th and Jalen Hurts doesn't turn the football over, we got to.
You want to hear the most important here? Sills, your defense was ranked 27th. What were they in points allowed? 9th. Hey, I'm in.
Yeah, is that possible though?
Hey, I'm in. So they ran nuts on me from 20 to 20. How'd they do in the red zone? Well, you were 9th in points allowed. Well, shit, I'm going to win everything.
Yeah. Do you know what we were last year in points allowed?
What?
Do you know what we were last year in points allowed?
Oh, man.
It wasn't 9.
Different seasons, though. It was 2 different seasons. Were you 17th or something like that?
I want to see if I can find it real quick.
Well, it's something like 17th in point. I know they were 31st in pass defense and first downs. I mean,
yeah, they were terrible. I'm not going to be able to find it on the fly here, but
All right, you ready?
Yep, ready.
DB safeties, strength or weakness?
Are you putting them all in one? Safeties? Just
The group,
safeties?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Not corners, not corners.
not corners, safeties. Yeah, safeties is a weakness because here's why.
But with great upside.
Yeah, I don't care about upside because CJ Gardner-Johnson, everybody's hype about that. And I'm hype about CJ. He missed 15 ball games last year.
29th in points allowed last year.
There you go, Ben. 29. Thank you, Ben. CJ Gardner-Johnson was 15th last year. 15 games missed last year, and he missed 6 games the year before that. Like, this is a guy that doesn't stay on the field. Then you have
he's
Reed
missed 19 games in 2 years.
He missed 15 last year with the Dolphins and came back for the playoffs. Actually, I think he missed one playoff game
Lions.
too. He got hurt in week 2.
Yeah, Lions.
Yeah, with the Lions. That's all right. That's what I meant. And then go to the second position, Reed Blankenship. He's a guy that got hurt last year. Sidney Brown's your safety 3. He was a rookie. He got hurt last year. And then they're saying that I moved Devontae Maddox to safety from the slot, or he's going to be your 4 safety. Well, Devontae Maddox can't stay healthy either. So you got 4 dudes. Not one of them can stay on the football field or has ever proven to you that they can stay on the football field. That, to me, is a weakness. And if you don't get something surefire or a veteran there for backup, I think that's going to be a major weakness on the team.
Cornerback play.
It all hinges on Quinyon Mitchell. If Quinyon Mitchell is a serviceable NFL corner in year 1, I think it's a strength.
How about this? Rookie and a 33-year-old corner you're going to go into the NFL season in week 1 versus Green Bay with.
Yeah, it's not pretty. And if you, let's say for a second they put
Isaiah
Rogers.
Got to give your analysis of the safety position and the linebacker position versus Green Bay.
Yeah, the defense sucks.
I want a piece of that.
Every time we do a drill like this, I'm like, man, we're not wrong. The defense really does suck.
But again, I wanted to make sure, though, that I did say this. Last year, you didn't have, and I get you're right because it's projections, but dude, this is how the Eagles build their defense on projections. Yeah. So you've got to see it through their lens too a little bit, dude. Okay, look, you and me may hate the word potential and also projecting, but that's how Howie talks.
Yeah,
he talks that way. He said that about Bryce Huff. He said that this is what we're looking at with Cooper DeJean. We forecast him playing on the numbers. I don't know about that. I think he's going to be more in that slot safety and more in that safety position.
Listen, let's revisit this because John McMullen wanted none of it this morning, and I get why. He's got the key fob. He's going down there and seeing them. What I'm looking back in hindsight, and I know everybody's going to be like, oh, quit reliving the past. Well, I wasn't doing shows when this happened, so I want to talk about it. They let Hassan Reddick walk out the door. Well, they traded him out the door. They got a BS pick 3 years into the future, and you weren't even allowed to ask the general manager about it at the press conference. He threw a hissy fit when somebody had a question that pushed back on it. We let the best guy on a defense, which was a pretty weak defense, walk out the door. You signed a guy who has proven far less, paid him more money. The Jets didn't give Reddick a contract. It's not like they were like, oh, they paid him. We didn't want to pay him. He's going to play out his contract in New York. And we let him walk out the door, and nobody said a word to Howie Roseman about it because he put on a stink at the press conference. That is like cryptic. That's
controlling the media.
That's controlling the narrative. That's what good is a key fob if you can't truthfully report what you want to report? The first thing I would have said to Howie at that press conference is, hey man, you let the best guy on our defense of the last 2 years walk out the door. What? Why? And you signed Bryce Huff.
Play the game, Sills. Play the game.
Your voice is louder than mine. Listen.
Wait a minute. Play the game, Sills. So wait a minute. Hey, listen. I want to be able to ask 25 questions versus not being able to ask any questions. That's how that works in that building over there. By the way, what was that super chat? All super chats go to the top. We just got a guy. I want to make sure we get him and what he asked. I'm not going to address what you said. The route jumper is going to give up a lot of yards. We shouldn't. We should have took Arnold. Well, hey,
I do think Terry Arnold's going to be a good player.
I do too. I tell you what, I think he makes Detroit better.
Oh, he definitely is going to make Detroit better. I don't think Quignon's not going to make us better, but they're two different styles of corner, and the Philly has chosen their man. Like even if I think they thought Terrion was better, I don't know if they would have taken him. They want a guy like Quignon that thrives in the zone defense.
Why do you think Howie doesn't want to be questioned on Hassan Reddick's situation? Just
because he knows he's wrong. I think we all talk about Bryce Huff, right?
Did he get pushed into that decision though?
By who?
Vic.
Because Vic
Here.
Did he
go
get
back
by
to what
Reddick?
your boy Farcetta said. Farcetta was one of the first people to go like this. Hey, remember that post game? And he goes like this. Hey, I'm just told what the front office tells me to do. And to me, you know what? They want me dropping in coverage. Then I'm here to drop in coverage.
Yeah, and there was also
you can tell he had a shit ass with it.
There was also that weird story that to me seemed like a planted story after the season ended that Hassan Reddick was only out to get sacks. And I'm like, he's an edge rusher. Go get the quarterback. Right. I thought that was a little odd. And then they let him walk out the door. I wonder if Hassan Reddick wanted nothing to do with this system and was clear about that. Maybe Vic moved him out, but I think it was maybe more Howie. I don't know why though. Like that's the thing. Normally I get why Howie does something. Like, okay, you don't want to pay a guy, get someone cheaper. Like you paid Bryce Huff more and he's a lesser player. By every metric, look, Bryce Huff has been a lesser player than Hassan Reddick.
Completely. And get this, like to your point though, okay, so they had sack issues last year. Well, then you now just minus 17 and a half sacks for two dudes now that aren't on that defense in Fletcher and in Reddick. And who's making up for that almost 20 sacks with just two players?
Yeah, you're counting on Bryce Huff. You're counting on Nolan Smith. You're counting on Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat, I think the thing I hate about Josh Sweat is he's so up and down. Like there's times when he'll go on a couple game run and you're like, man, that guy
had 962 reps. He had 962.
Yeah, so he burnt out. Year. Too many.
Year before he had 810.
Yeah, but Dan, you don't see that number going down, do you?
Well, they don't have him starting right now.
Who do they have?
They're going to start out in the 34.
Well, no, but if they play out of there, if let's say they do a base
fourth, they got it. He's gonna. How about this?
Yeah, or even a first half, they do a 5-man front.
No, you're right.
Definitely going to be out there. Yeah.
Listen, he's going to play 60 snaps a game.
Yeah, I think that's inevitable. Now, if I don't think they're going to be running 34 front much, dude. They don't have the personnel for it.
I don't think so either.
They don't have the personnel for it.
I mean, I don't think they have what, like you said. Boy, I'll tell you what, though, man. It just shows you. See, the Reddick thing to me is peculiar because he doesn't bring pressure. And this is what I heard. I heard this. Do you remember how that thing worked out at the end of the year? Xander, you weren't doing shows yet as often as you were doing. But this is what he said. One of the problems right after, if you remember right, go back and look at the timeline. As soon as the regular season ended, they hired Fangio. That deal was already in place with his agent and the Eagles because they were not going to procrastinate like they did a year previous in waiting around and hiring the third dude to sign. My opinion is this. I think he had to have complete autonomy of the personnel and I think that kid from Houston Christian or whatever it is, I think that's a Fangio sign.
I do too. I think he was Fangio. Yeah, but Dan,
I think these two. Watch this.
Yeah, we're crisscrossing though, man. We're crisscrossing philosophies. Because hear me out. What did we just talk about? This front office doesn't let Sirianni do. Didn't let Doug Peterson do. Didn't let any of the coordinators or coaches they've ever had do. Call shots. Call shots. You're telling me Vic Fangio came in here before he even played a down or his defense played a down for the Eagles. He told Howie Roseman to get rid of their best defensive
Was he
player.
not the consultant on that defense and offense when
he
they went
was actually an offensive consultant
because he was putting the offensive guys.
Yes. Yes, that is why.
But okay, so you're saying it's coincidence that the 2 corners they drafted were
No,
zone
it's not a
cover corners,
coincidence. It's definitely not a coincidence. But I
and
have a
the
hard
type of
time.
guys they got with edge. They've got a guy in the draft in the 3rd round
Yeah, drafting a player is different than trading
and
away your
signing
best
a guy.
defensive player for a box of peanuts.
But signing a guy and drafting a guy, they went and got 2 dudes that they're going to drop in coverage, and they got 2 zone cover corners. I'll tell you what, that sounds to me like a guy who asked for some. He may not have told them, but I'll tell you what, they gave him the players that fit his system.
Let me ask you this. You're a defensive guy. You're a defensive tackle, played at a high level. In today's NFL, passing, offense heavy, tons of passing yards, tons of passing touchdowns. Does dropping people into coverage make more sense than fans or other people like me, people in the chat give it credit for? Because the minute we see it, we're like, why are you dropping a son into coverage? But it is a passing league, and sometimes throwing curveballs to the offense makes sense. Do you see it that way, or do you see it as a total lack of using your personnel properly?
Okay, here. 71% of the time, because this is to what you said, 71% of the time, that number's gone up from 3 years ago from 69.8, where you're going to be a nickel almost the entire game. So 70% of the time, you're a nickel, which means what? More DBs,
yeah.
and you're being spread out, which, okay, the more people you have zone coverage in, the flat, middle of the field, the hash marks, and also the numbers, you're trying to defend. That's why the 34 is more open to today's NFL, and where you're seeing this, Xander, control and contain. Keep everything underneath. Don't give up the plus 25 play. And how many games have you seen, Xander, where you see this now? The losing team has 365 yards passing, 90 yards rushing. They get beat and they put up 30 points, and that's almost on a common now. You're seeing 28-26 games, 30-28 games.
Yeah.
People with big – look at the Washington games last year against the Eagles. The quarterback put up 700 yards and put up like 65 points. That's common today in the NFL. Back in my day, you didn't want to give up over 19. You didn't want to give up over 275 total yards. You didn't want to give up over 80 yards in rushing. You didn't want to give up over 251 in passing. That's all changed. So to your question, yes, you're trying to cover. That's why, why Nolan Smith was drafted? He wasn't drafted because he's a great pass rusher. He was drafted because he runs a 4-3 and he might be able to cover people in open space.
Yep. He's versatile.
Okay. And run guy. Hey, he may get beat, but you know what he's going to do? He's going to run people down because he runs a 4-3. Okay. Yeah. Bryce Huff. They're looking at this. Those guys.
I don't love it. I got to be honest. I don't love this whole.
I don't love it either.
Yeah.
Because you're always here. What you do is when you do that, you keep everyone in the game.
Well, and here's the other thing I hate about it.
Like, you don't control the opponent.
That's what I mean. And you almost if you get into a situation where you need your defense to make a play or make a stop, it's almost like dying a slow, painful death. It's like my defense is bend but don't break. We don't have the players or the personnel to play a different style of defense. So when someone needs to kill the clock with 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, all they do is take what's given to them and march right down the field and kill all the clock.
Ask yourself that. Well, this is what, and this
what happened in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes.
Here's what you just said. Okay, zone defense. Do you want a slow death, or man defense? Do you want a quick death?
See, I'd rather have a quick death. That's just me.
So you say,
especially if it means I'm going to get the ball back.
Let's ask this last one here.
Wait, one more thing on that point about the coverages and playing nickel. John insinuates they're going to play a lot of big nickel, which is a third safety, to kind of hide those linebackers. Yeah, so they'll stuff a safety in there, maybe Sidney Brown in, and have a lot of cover guys. And you kind of,
I don't like that. I don't
like
ready.
it. But when your linebackers suck, does it make sense?
Yes, but here, you have to have a sure tackler in that position. You have to have a guy that's not going to get turned around and have false steps out there. And I don't know he's ready, and he's going to be coming off an injury. I want a guy who has been up to game speed and somebody, because you need a guy who is a sure tackler in that position, because what you're doing is you're creating a deep hole on the third level. When you bring, because you're going to bring that guy up more and play behind the
Right.
backers.
Exactly.
Well, guess what? Somebody like Justin Jefferson running a post, dude, you better be on his ass, because if he's ahead of you, you're beat. You can't give that up.
That's risky, but I do think they're going to do it because the linebackers suck so bad. And on surefire passing downs, they like their safeties and coverage. I agree with what you're saying, that it does open you up to a potential,
And if they're not,
flow,
if they're going to play that with what John just said. So John's saying that they're counting on pressure, and that the front's going to create pressure too.
JM brings up a good point. And this is what I hate, right? The entire reason they brought the Fangio system was because of those Schwartz gambles that cost us games. What about the Schwartz gambles that won us a Super Bowl? What about Brandon Graham going and getting a strip sack? What about, yeah, you live and you die by the things, but I would rather have Jim Schwartz in that Super Bowl than have
Jim Schwartz was the defensive assistant of the year in the NFL last year. Do you know that?
Schwartz got us a ring. That's all I know. All I know is that our defense won, and it gave up all them yards. By the way, Brady, I think, threw for 530 in that game, or five. I know it was 5+.
He thinks that Browns defense is going to be better. You guys played Browns, right?
Actually pretty nasty. They got some good players on that defense, man.
Dude, the linebackers they got are really good.
Even the corners, that Denzel Ward guy, he can play, man. And then you got Myles Garrett. Yeah, they got some players up there in Cleveland. I think if Deshaun Watson puts it together a little bit, they could be a good team.
Let me tell you this, man. You know what a ticket is to watch? Myles Garrett Lane. I want to watch. Hey, dude.
He's a
you got to pay to watch
all that. All I want is an edge rusher that looks like that. Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, TJ Watt. Like, give me. I want a mean mother that's gonna go in there and fuck somebody up.
I like that Hendrickson guy that may be on the trading block, man.
Yeah, Bengals.
But you see, like you said, Cincinnati is a little too cheesy in how they do things, man. And it takes forever to get a phone call with them.
Yeah, and their owner's a cheap guy, apparently. I don't think they're a great. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they end up doing with Jamar Chase and all those guys,
Well, they just gave what's his name $55 million.
Well, you weren't letting him walk out the door.
No.
He was the easy one, right? Everything else is
You know what's crazy? I'm going to say this, and I'll say this to you here. I don't believe the Chiefs are going to win 3 in a row. No way.
Yeah, it's very unlikely. I don't think you're going out on a limb with that conversation.
No, I just and if Burrow's up standing right for 17, he'll beat him.
I think you give Burrow I'm a Burrow guy. I think I think you glaze him a little much. You glaze Burrow a little too much.
He beats him every time he plays him.
He's the only guy that beat Mahomes late in the playoffs. Yes, you're right, but maybe it's not Joe Burrow for me. Maybe it's the whole organization.
Cincinnati.
I just can't get over it. The Bengals are going to be a Super Bowl contender year in and year out.
Say it with me, Jack.
I don't know about that.
Say it with me. The AFC Championship game is Jacksonville versus Cincinnati.
Oh my! The NFL would not like that. The NFL would not like that.
All right, here's the last one. Here, you ready? Coaching minus, and I know you heard me prior to you coming on. The only coach with really big-time Super Bowl experience, I think Vic was in a Super Bowl when he was in San Fran.
Vic's never won anything. 40 years, never won.
But Nick has the recent Super Bowl experience, and Kellen Moore has none. Coaching, plus or negative?
I'm saying negative because the head of your ship is still Nick Sirianni, and I think he has shown that I don't like Nick. I just don't like Nick, and he's the head coach. Like, your head guy matters. I think they upgraded at coordinators. So if you asked me not coaching and coordinators, I would say strength compared to last year. But the coaching staff as a whole, I'm saying weakness. And I will say, I think, Nick, you're going to see a different Nick this year. And I don't know if it's going to be Nick that wants to be different. I think they had a meeting with Nick, and they said, cut out Harry high school bullshit.
So you had a conversation with a guy after all these years about being more of a professional. Jesus criminy.
Dude, I think they did.
He's the second face of your franchise next to your quarterback as your head coach.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's a good question. I wonder if even Jalen Hurts had a conversation with the owner. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it works like this, but if I'm the owner of an NFL team and I pay my quarterback $255 million, I'm going to want to have a meeting with him too. I'm not going to, it doesn't mean I'm going to take everything he says to the bank or I'm going to do what he asks, but I'd like to say to Jalen, yo, is Nick the right coach here? Because this thing is built on you.
So
and
you're going to say that in a meeting, or are you going to have your agent do that?
Do you think Jeffrey Lurie meets with guys like Jalen Hurts, players of that caliber, or no?
No. I think
Howie.
I think I think they meet guys like that, like Bob Kraft and like he doesn't. When that whole Garoppolo thing happened, Tom Brady didn't go to Bob Kraft going like this. What's his name wants to start Jimmy Garoppolo over me. I don't think that went down like that. I think that had to become a call from the owner himself, where the owner was watching these two guys do this and bitching and all the stuff that was going on. And I think he intervened. The great thing about Bob Kraft is Bob never really got involved unless he had to. Spygate, Deflategate.
Our owner's not Bob Kraft. Trust me. Our owner loves football. Our owner loves this stuff. Now, I'm not saying you're probably right, and I think, Christopher, you're right in the chat. You're right. They're probably not talking to Jalen. The reason I say that is because Jalen Hurts has always, to me,
socially talking to him.
Yeah, I'm talking about foot. I want to know, like, yo, do you like this head coach? Because I don't know if Jalen would say yes to that.
You're questioning Jeffrey Lurie's authority when you do that.
No, I'm not. I'm
yeah,
not
you
doing
are.
That. I'm saying Jalen.
He hired him. You're questioning a hire when you do
also
that.
Almost fired him this year.
Okay, well, let him make that call, not you.
I'm not saying Jalen was going to make the call, but do you think? Look, I'm about to fire Nick. Let me get as much intel as I can. What does my quarterback think?
That's how you create an adversarial relationship, when you start questioning front office hires.
Front office didn't hire him. Jeffrey Lurie hired him.
Okay, well, the front office is code for the owner.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts, I don't think likes Nick Sirianni. Maybe he thinks he's okay, but
no, I think he likes him. I don't think he respects him as a head coach.
Well, so
there's
does
two
anybody
things.
in the
You
locker
can have two things. You can like the guy.
Okay, if Jalen Hurts doesn't respect him and he's the leader of your locker room, decidedly, based on how much money he's making and his role in the team, does anybody?
Here's the difference between Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady. Tom Brady hated Bill Belichick but respected him. Jalen Hurts likes Nick Sirianni.
Okay, so I agree.
But
two different things. I don't care if he likes him.
No.
He believe that he can coach him to the promised land?
No.
Okay, and then I would have liked to ask Jalen that question.
That's not your call.
I know it's not his call, but it wasn't Tom Brady's call. Tom Brady knew Bill Belichick could lead him to a Super Bowl.
But that never got poised. That question never got asked to Kraft.
I know it didn't. I'm
Kraft
just wondering.
made that call.
This was a weird offseason where they were waiting. They didn't know if they should fire Nick. There was a lot of indecisiveness coming out of the Eagles organization. I just wonder if they would have approached Jalen to just get his gauge. Hey, is this a coach that you think you can thrive under? I don't think Jalen likes the dude. I don't think Jalen is such a.
So they kept the dude that Jalen doesn't like.
That's my whole point.
Okay. So they kept it. So Jalen asked him,
I don't know if Jalen doesn't like him. That's what I'm guessing, but that's why I would have asked him.
Under your premise, Jalen doesn't like him, but yet they went like this, fuck you, he's staying.
They never, apparently, but well, if you're right, then they didn't ask him.
Right.
I'm saying, though, if they were thinking of firing him,
Nick,
I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, dude, I'm about to keep this guy for another year because I want to give him another shot.
Why do you think Nick Sirianni kept his job? Why do you think Nick Sirianni kept his job?
I think because they like that he's does what the front office wants.
He knows the inner workings of the front office.
Yeah, but that's not something they can't teach to somebody.
Well, it's hard to look at the record and actually.
Doug learned the hard way.
Hey, no, Doug got thrown out of there the hard way.
Doug knew how it worked, though, and then the minute he tried to go against it, he got bashed. Doug Peterson's and Nick Sirianni's trajectory at the end, speaking of last season, is actually similar. Terrible season. Now, Nick won more ball games, but one guy went and said, this is what I want to do to turn it around. The other guy went and said, I'll do whatever you want to turn it around. They kept the one guy. They got rid of the other guy. Super Bowl didn't matter.
Oh, the only reason that they got him fired because he had 4 wins. Because if he had 11 wins, Doug's not canned.
I think he might have been.
Even though?
It depends how it ended. It depends how it ended.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. If it was a collapse like this year,
the meeting ended it.
If it was a collapse like it was this year and Doug walked in there and said, this is who I want as my coordinator, and the owner didn't like it, he was going to let him go.
Oh, so he knows the inner workings of how old Jeffrey and everybody work up there.
Doug did. That's why I said Doug learned the hard way.
Oh, no. See, Frank came on the program and prepped him for this job. You know how you keep this job?
Let me ask you, are the coaches a weakness or a strength?
They're experienced.
Coordinators are.
I'm really liking Vic Fangio's attitude. You know, I'll tell you, Xander, the last 2 months talking about Vic, I even made a comment. I don't think he's the right guy. And now the more I'm hearing him and how he's running practice and how he's looking at shit and what you're saying and John's saying about multiple fronts and nickel package, and they're going to have more of a 5 front, maybe barely. I mean, I don't know, man. I think this is going to come down to Howie's roster. I don't think the problem's going to be coordinators. I think the problem's going to be talent. Here is my assessment. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to pick up Kellen Moore's.
Politician Sills. Can I get an answer?
No.
Man?
Here, I'm going to tell you. I don't think Jalen Hurts has the skill set to fit Kellen Moore's offensive approach and spread ball. I don't think he could spread the offense out. I don't believe he's going to be able to do that. And on the other hand, with Vic is going to have to win the points against, because everything else is up for debate. Some guy's going to throw for 400 yards. Some guy's going to throw for 380. It's going to be about red zone defense for the Eagles to win this year. Their red zone defense has to be great. But for me, I do not believe that Jalen Hurts is going to be able to spread out the offense like Dak Prescott did in Dallas, and he's going to put up the Dak Prescott numbers. Absolutely no way. I don't see it.
No, I don't either.
He's not a better passer than him.
I said it. I like the coordinators. I do. I actually like the coordinators, and that's without knowing what they're going to do. Do I think they fit the football team perfectly? Maybe not. I do like the two coordinators. But you asked me about the coaching staff. And as you said when you asked me about each position, I'm not talking about one guy. I'm talking about the group. Nick Sirianni's the head of the snake. If I hate the head of the snake, it's tough for me to like, anything else.
No, I mean, hey, just like a good-looking chick, Hey, you want to face by a clock. I get it.
Actually, you could argue it's a little different.
Oh, my God. So you think which one of these – you think Vic fits the team better than Kellen?
Vic is – I like Vic. I just don't like the style. But they've shown they've shown that they're going to stick with the style, because now not only did they pick a coordinator for him, like you pointed out, they're now making acquisitions and draft picks and guys that fit that scheme. So they've clearly put their stake in the sand on the kind of defense they want to run. It's not my style of defense. I'm more of a go-get-him type of guy. I'm more of a Jim Schwartz type of guy. I get it. There's problems. I get it. But there's problems with every defense. Welcome to the NFL, guy. You're going to get beat. I'd rather die a quick death than a slow, painful one.
Okay, here's just a couple here. Pro Football Focus had the top 10 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I did this last week with John.
In the NFC and
NFC. I did NFL. Okay.
Prescott was number one.
In the open, yeah.
Prescott was number one to them,
which is atrocious. Come on, and you had him there too. I couldn't believe it.
23.
I couldn't believe it. You had Dak Prescott as the number one quarterback in the NFC.
Based off of 23, he had a better year.
Would you take Jared Goff or Dak Prescott?
That's not what was asked.
Okay, that's what I'm asking you, though. Would
So
you
you're expanding what I wait. They based this off of 2023. Dak Prescott had a better season. He won the division. He had a better passing year than what Hurts did. Did he or did he not? That's a fact.
He failed abhorrently in the playoffs.
I'm not. So did Jalen.
And that's why I wouldn't put Jalen 1.
Dak had a better season.
What, regular season? You want a regular season cookie?
He won the division too.
I know, but that's because the Eagles collapsed. Dak Prescott is not the number 1 quarterback in the NFC. I don't care.
That's how PFF.
I don't care what year you're grading it on.
Okay.
I would take Jared Goff before Dak Prescott. I would even consider Brock Purdy before Dak Prescott.
They got Stafford 2. I'd put Purdy 2. I put Purdy because he had a better passing season than Hurts. He won his division and he won the conference.
Stafford's interesting because
he came on late strong.
And if you're talking talent, Stafford's probably the best. But I guess he wasn't the best. He wasn't the best last year. But
down the stretch, he was.
I can't believe forget PFF for a second. If me and you did a ranking of the NFC quarterbacks right now, you would put Dak 1?
Based off of 23?
Based off anything.
Here.
The whole body of work.
The whole body of work from 23.
No. The whole body of work for the athlete is.
That's not the question. The question was, who is the better quarterback going into 24 based off of 23? It's not who's had the best career.
I'd probably have Goff, Purdy, Hurts, Dak.
I had my 4
for 23.
My 4 were Dak, Purdy, Love, and Goff.
Dak, Purdy, Love, Goff.
Here's why.
Hurts 5? You have Hurts 5?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to change mine because I don't like where I put Dak. I think I put Dak too high still. I'd have Goff, Purdy, Hurts, Stafford, Love, Dak.
How could you have Hurts ahead of Dak when he didn't do anything more than him a year ago?
Jalen Hurts didn't have that bad of a football a year last year.
But he had a better year than him, and he did just as much, if not more, because he won the division.
Yeah, but he won the division not because he played great.
But now you're adding a narrative. The facts are he won the division with a better passing season and went just as far. He sucked too, like that. What's the determining factor? He won more games. He won the division. He had a better.
He won the division because our team collapsed, not because he played great.
Another narrative. Okay. Here.
But that narrative was included in 2023.
Dak won a division. Purdy won the division. Love won a playoff game and went 1-1. Goff won the division, went to the NFC title game. How are those guys not all ranked ahead of Jalen when they had more winning and better seasons than him in 23?
Because it's not all on one player.
The question once again was asked, coming off of the 2023 season, who are you ranking going into the 24 season? It's not who the hell is the better guy over that one phenomenal season of 22.
All right, so wait, you're telling me that Dak Prescott had a better season than Jared Goff?
Passing wise.
Man, now you're adding narratives.
Well, good for you, good for me.
I'm taking Jared Goff over Dak. Based on
53 million reasons why that may be right.
Man, Dak Prescott got bounced by Jordan Love.
You got bounced by Baker Mayfield.
I know. I'm aware.
Okay. He got bounced. Hey, I get it. At least that one. Well, they both threw for $4,000. How about PFF, though? PFF had Caleb Williams 10th. I went, come on.
Caleb Williams,
he hasn't even thrown an NFL pass yet. I'll tell you what, Atlanta's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what that thing looks like in week 2.
I like Kirk Cousins.
But he had 18. Get this. Your boy threw only 4 more touchdowns than he did a year ago, and he played half the season. He had 18.
Yeah, but you love stats. You do. You just love stats.
That's how you get paid on them. Ask your boy A.J. Owens.
Well, Jalen Hurts got paid.
Off of one overhyped 22 touchdown year. Holy shit. You got to be kidding me, guy. Man, if that guy throws for more than 25 touchdowns in one season, I'll be stunned. Stunned. You got a quarterback that can't
look at
play.
this. Look at this.
You
This
got
is
a
my boy.
quarterback.
This is my boy. Wait, look at this. It's a team game. Dak's defense gave up 41 points. Dak also threw 2 interceptions, 304. Dak was terrible in that game. And every one of Dak's stats in that game were come from behind. That didn't mean squat. They put up like 20 points at the end of that game. That didn't mean anything. Dak Prescott did crap in that game.
304, you're not helping me.
Come on, 304. Dak was terrible in that game. He was terrible.
You're not helping me. All right, Xander, tell us where we are
in the. Can we do this before I leave here?
Yeah.
Forget the 23, the PFF list. If we started the draft right now,
yes,
and only the NFC was available, who would you take first overall? Quarterback.
With the current ages and everything that they are right now, with everything being what it is?
Sure, keep everything the same.
I think they're all bums in the NFC, but hey, let me see. I think they're all bums. See, Purdy and Hurts are so reliant on having a good team around them. I don't know what they'll look like with not having I know what Hurts looks like not having good people around him. And I know what Purdy looks like.
You don't know that.
Have good people around him.
Last time Jalen Hurts didn't have a good cast around him, he was a rookie. He was a second
or that playoff game.
Well, he still had a good cast there. He didn't play well. I mean, AJ Brown was out, but hey, you still had top five line. You still had Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. I mean, he still should have played good in that game.
Well, man, don't lose a headlight in your car, man. The car shuts down. I see. Okay. I'll tell you what, dude. Honestly, see, I can't take Stafford because he's too old. Here, I'll do it.
You're going to go
if
Dak.
I had to start my football,
go Dak Prescott.
No, if I had to start my football team right now with a quarterback in the NFC, it'd be Jordan Love.
That's a good one. That's a good one. He showed a lot, right? He showed a lot for a first year.
Dude, those first 6 weeks were rocky.
Well, you got to give him that lenience, right? It's his first time playing in the NFL.
Then he ends up with over 4,200 passing yards and 30 touchdowns.
I'm not going to knock you for the Jordan Love pick. I think that's a good pick. Honestly, and I don't even think this is Homer. I might take Jalen Hurts. Brock Purdy doesn't – I don't see it with him. I'd take probably Love. I'd take Hurts.
Here, let me ask you this.
Yes, Dak. Dak is so meh to me. He's just like he's there. He can put the ball in tight windows every once in a while. Cool. Like,
what would you take, Lamar Jackson or Hurts?
Lamar.
Okay. Allen or Hurts?
Allen.
Burrow or Hurts?
Burrow.
Okay. So those guys are all in the AFC?
Yeah.
Okay. How about CJ Stroud?
Stroud. Just like that style better. It's just more my style.
And all your bums in the NFC. He's the best of the bums. And you're going to build your team.
Hey, man, I can't draft for everybody in the NFC. I mean, I'm just playing what the
how about Baker Mayfield over Hurts?
Come on.
Wait, he's 1-1. I
Are you
can't say
taking
that.
Baker Mayfield over Hurts?
I can't. No, I can't say that with a straight.
No, you're not taking.
But honest to God, hey, CJ Stroud and Jordan Love.
I call Baker Mayfield Baker Hayfield.
I hate that dude. You know what though? I think he showed a lot last year, a lot of character. I did. You know, he's bounced around, and he came back and he signed himself a $100 million contract.
Robbing a bank. Good, you had good character. You got paid a bunch of money. You're getting paid a bunch of money. You earned a big contract.
Don't use that shit on me.
I don't care that he had good character. I don't. He was playing for a massive contract.
Give a shit that Jalen's a good dude.
No, I don't care that Jalen's a good dude.
That's right, man. Stop with those 20 turnovers. Be all right. Hey, where are we in likes, my friend?
I have no idea. Let me check that out for you.
Guys are doing great, by the way, the last couple of weeks, man. Thank you guys so much. Trying to get to 200.
We are at 152 likes. Come on, man. Let's bump them up.
Absolutely. All right, guys. By the way, I got something here for you. Dude, I'll tell you what, man. I can't believe that we saw and went through the strengths and weaknesses, and you didn't see my point on that wide receiving group of yours. You got 2 dudes. You lose one, you're done.
Again, I'd still rather have the dudes. Would you rather not have the dudes?
I'd rather be strong in the group and my quarterback be strong, being able to get the ball to all of them. Like, let me ask you this. You really believe that Jalen Hurts can spread the football around in an offense like Kellen Moore's spread offense?
No, that's not Jalen's game.
Well, that's who the coordinator is. He's a spread offense coordinator.
You want Jalen Hurts to change. How about Kellen Moore change a little bit?
Why'd you hire him?
Because he's a good offensive mind. There's not one scheme.
So wait, you're going to hire a guy who's never coached that style. Okay. Hey, no problem. That probably works.
I do wonder why they did that.
Well, no, you shouldn't, because now you wonder why they did that last year with those inexperienced guys.
Wait a second. Look at this dude. Jalen Hurts is better than Josh Allen in his sleep. Come on, bro.
Hey, dude, Dick Train.
I'm an Eagle fan too, Dick Train. We got to be realistic here.
Hey, don't forget.
Come on, bro.
Hey, don't forget to join Farzy in the morning. Also, he starts our broadcast team off. And Xander's brought so much. You make sure you tell John McMullen, man, with that whoopee that he goes to sleep with that jersey of the Kobe Dean.
I'm going to start it tomorrow on the Kobe Dean or the middle segment. Whenever I have a chance with John, I'm going to break into Kobe Dean because I need a John McMullen opinion on this, not a report. I want to know what John's thoughts are on this guy.
Like, what has he seen in him that makes him have so much?
Nothing. I don't think anything. I don't think anybody's seen anything from Dean. I really don't. Has anybody in the chat? Have you seen anything from the Kobe Dean?
Nothing. Zero. All right, Xander. Xander, awesome stuff. We'll see you tomorrow at 3:30.
Thanks, bro. See you.
Gotcha. All right, folks, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Voted by Bleacher Report as the most overrated linebacker in pro football, your very own green dot, Devin White. Damn. You kidding me? Really? Devin White is the most overrated linebacker in pro football. I'm not even sure I'd say that. But he's the most overrated? Damn! You see, and like I told you earlier, the Buccaneers have lowered his jersey sale to $20 or $22 because they hate the guy so bad. Can't stand him. He had a $50 jersey and the Bucs got it on their team website for $22. That's how much they hate that guy. Because he quit. But he won't quit on you. Once a quitter, always a quitter. You just don't pick a time to quit. Signing guys that surrender? You have faith in a guy who quit. All right. You have faith in a guy who let the business of football make him quit. Okay? Good luck to you. Quit. Healthy scratch in that playoff game even. Wentz's jersey's 21. White's is 22. That's all you need to know right there. Thank you, Suplex. They hate Devin White in Tampa. Christopher goes, Sills, White is on house money. Who cares? Here's totally why who cares. I thought you'd tell me you're going to get better. You keep telling me you have a Super Bowl football team, and yet you don't have a decent defense. We're hoping it's decent. That's what we're hoping on, that it's decent. Decent. Remember something, too. This guy had a massive grade at the beginning of last year. A massive grade. He was negotiating with the Bucs and Jason Light. You know how I know this? Because Bruce Arians told me. But then when they watched him quit, you see, remember something. As I told Xander, Devin White's problem is not ability. It's not ability. He quit. And the Bucs quit on him. Can you imagine this? The Buccaneers drafted him 5th overall. 5th or 6th overall, and they quit on him. Quit. Bucs one day, we're negotiating 100. Get this. Look how fast that changed. And this is what I always tell you about how quick your stay in the NFL changes. In September, the Buccaneers were negotiating a $100 million contract. 4 months later, they fired him. All you need to know about the league. That's all you need to know. So when people go, Sills, you liked him as much as the Bucs did. Yeah, negotiating $100 million. Absolutely. 4 months later, he was fired. He was fired. Bucks must have flip-flopped too. One day they're negotiating. 60 days earlier, they're negotiating a $100 million deal. 65 days later, they fired him. What happened? Hey, Christopher, Sills wanted White. Yeah. And he quit. Bucks were working on hey, Christopher, did the Bucks flip-flop on him? They were negotiating a $100 million deal with him. In September, they were negotiating a $100 million deal. 3 months later, they fired him. Imagine that, Chris. That's the kind of talent you have with a guy who can maybe get a $100 million deal. And you know what? What happened? Player outperformed and quit. Buck said bye. Case closed. Case closed. Bucks knew he has a bad edit. That's not true. They were negotiating in September for $100 million. That's not true. I know this because Bruce Arians has been on this program. How many times, Xander? 4? And he's the executive assistant to Jason Light and told me. Everyone liked the kid. Well, until he quit. 3 months later, he's fired. How do you go from a $100 million negotiation to being fired? You're welcome. All right. PFF is getting ready because the start of the season's coming up. And guys, please hit the like button. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you. I'm more worried about the coaching. Well, I am too, because I don't believe that Kellen Moore fits Jalen Hurts' skill set. Okay? When they keep the old linebacker over Devin White, who was a first rounder back in 2018, that tells you something. That's right, Pete. That's right. And when they go out of their way to make sure they tell you that Levante David is a superstar player that shows up and knows what to do each and every single time and is always there for you no matter what the circumstances are, that tells you about the character of White and why they love Levante David. Levante David is ranked 4th. The Eagles, according to NFL.com, don't have one linebacker ranked in the top 50. And the Niners have 3. 3. 3. We need some positive news or sentiments. Feels like dark clouds. No, Forrest. What dark clouds? I didn't say that. I said that you have a ton of questions. You're young at corner. That's all. You wanted to trade for him last year, as did most teams in the Chris, one more time. They were negotiating a $100 million contract, the Bucks. When an organization drafts you 5th or 6th and is negotiating a $100 million contract with you, and multiple teams are looking into trading for him, he has a high value. But when a team quits on you and fires you, that's why he signed basically for $3 million. $97 million bucks. Patrick Queen got $18 million. Howie ain't paying $18 million for a linebacker. Crazy? Crazy? We need someone other than Howie picking players and schemes, especially on defense. Especially on defense. There's question marks. But a lot to be said about this offseason. How he did it as good as he could. Good draft, too. How do you know that, Forrest, that it's a good draft? How do you know that? Now, Forrest, if you go like this to me, Seals, did he address the needs? Yes. That's a way to look at it, and I agree with that look. But to sit there and tell me on May 28th when I haven't had any contact whatsoever or been in any exhibition games or anything whatsoever and say that they had a good draft is asinine. Guys don't play with passion anymore. It's all about money. You're going to have very little Hall of Famers. They don't play for the love of the game. Thank you very much, my friend. Is that true? Who is the guy on the team right now, would you say? The Eagle player on the team right now that plays with great desire to be a Hall of Famer? Prince goes, it's a business. Yeah. Lane, CZ. Yeah. I'd pick Devontae. I would. And you know how I would? His production. His haircut he took in salary. Yeah. I think Lane's a little old school. Yeah. Dickerson. I think Landon Dickerson wants to be that. Isn't it funny? The guys we're naming, the majority of the guys we're naming the guys that are being taught and coached by Jeff Stoutland. Guys are being coached by a Hall of Fame position coach who's putting that intangible and wanting to be great all the time. Hey, being great is not something you do occasionally. Being great is something you do on a day-to-day basis. Parking your car, getting your coffee, getting up in the morning, preparing your life every day, having yourself on a schedule. That's how you're great when no one's watching you. Being great is not just in a game or in a practice. It's the things you do to prepare yourself when the lights aren't on you. Okay? Look at Dick Train here. Howie Roseman actually upgraded every position. That's cool that he thinks that. And helmets and shorts. You won the offseason, kid. Howie gets straight A's once again. Second offseason in a row he gets A's, right? You guys gave him A's last year, too. What happened? What happened? Let me ask you this. You guys, you know, I hear all the people going, one of the great off seasons here this year. What do you think? Like Angelo said, like last year you gave him an A. What grade would you give the football season last year for the Eagles? How about the actual football season? What would be the grade you gave that team last year? I just wrote it down. I don't think 11 wins is a D. So Howie had an A+ off season last year. A+. C+. Would you be okay with C+? Regular season? Had a C+ regular season. How did that equate? Wait, he had a great offseason. And he had a little bit above average football team. How did that equate? Aren't you doing that again? A+ off season. This is an A+. Anybody who looks at 10-1 is ridiculous. You play 17 ball games. You play 17. That team lost 7 games last year. You were 4 games above 500. You make it sound like you had this iconic year a year ago. You were 4 games above 500. Shit. The Bucks won 1 less game than you. I mean, Hutch, C+, right? 11 wins. You can't give that team D's or D minuses or 11. Hey, that is where I love the Eagle fan, because you know why? Okay, you know why? Anybody in their mind, you think the Jets wouldn't? Hey, if the Jets get 11 wins this year, you're going to think the Jets won the Lombardi Trophy if they get 11 wins. The Jets aren't going anywhere. But if they get 11 wins, there's going to be a parade in the Canyon of Heroes. You're going to see the Jets got a parade. Did they win the Super Bowl? No. But there's Aaron Rodgers there. How you doing, everybody? How you doing, everybody? Everybody in the Canyon of Heroes, this guy's going to be blowing doobies. They could literally be blowing doobies if they win 11 games. Hey, man, we won 11 games. I get a parade, and I land right there in front of Mayor in the City Hall. Dan, come on, Dan. How do you not know they won't be great this year? I think you have. Here, let's do this. Let's just take Kansas City for a second. That's the barometer. And let's take the Eagles. It's very simple. And you're not the only team that can't answer this. How about this? Does Kansas City have any question marks on defense? No. Do the Eagles? Yes. Does Kansas City have any questions on offense? No. Do the Eagles? Yes. Does Kansas City have any question marks on coaching? No. Do the Eagles? Yes. Just a simple question you can't answer. You can't even answer simple questions. No. They didn't lose their corners. They lost a corner. But because they're so good with Steve Spagnuolo, who's won 4. So, wait a minute. Hey, Christopher, you got a coordinator who has won 4 Super Bowls. 4. Not appeared in them. 1-4. 1-4. He's probably on his way to the Hall of Fame. So, am I right when I say this? Andy Reid has 3 Super Bowl wins, and the coordinator has 4. There's 7 Super Bowl wins between the 2 coordinators, Reid and Spagnuolo. And if they lose a corner because they don't want to pay him, Like Stoutland loses a guard like Sayamalu. You really fear that? I don't. Excuse me, guy. Prince, Andy has 3 rings. Andy has 3 Super Bowl rings, Prince. If Mahomes has 3, he has 3. Where'd you get 2? He's got 3 Super Bowl rings. Three. Ben to what? 5? Whew. Will be 4 after this season. No way. No way. I'm going to make it, and I'm saying it right now. No way. The Kansas City Chiefs will not win 3 in a row. No way. No way. No how. And if he does, he's greater than Brady. No way. Hey, Prince. Hey, Prince. Big Sills is known to make a few mistakes himself. No way. Hey, Prince. I am doing it. I'm tabooing it. The Kansas City Chiefs will not win 3 Super Bowls in a row. It's not happening. The last team that won 3 championships in a row were the late 60s Packers. They won 2 Super Bowls and 3 championships in a row, but they're not doing it. Not happening. No way. I do not. No. No way. Not happening. Eagles winning what? Try winning the East first. Kansas City will win 3 in a row. You Sills make mistakes? Not you. Well, that's a wonderful thing to say. All right, Xander, Power Hour coming up here. Xander, where are we in the like total? Is that really Mark Holmes? You hiding. No good. Witness protection. Hold on. Yes, the local magistrate in the Commonwealth. I won't say where, Mark. Yes, is this the Commonwealth? You know that SOS that I put out on Mark Holmes, and I paid for some billboards. Have you seen this? And I was really looking for more of a Amber Alert. You can cancel those because we have a Mark Holmes sighting. Yeah. Well, I'm assuming he's okay, but no. The guys at Quantico told me he was in witness protection. Well, because the Eagle fans beat the shit out of him. I know. Hey, wait. But he does just say he's been pissed on. Oh, wait. Pissed off. My bad. Pissed off, yes. So you can call off the Amber Alert and the missing persons. Or, as we like to say here in Philly, the missing Parsons. Home affairs with Bum Cowboy Man. Yeah. He says he's bringing it. What? It can't be a Lombardi trophy. Thank you very much for your time, officer. Yes, you can cancel all the alerts. Thank you. So there. I was getting concerned. As a concerned citizen for my friend Mark Holmes, I was, we were going to put up billboards. We had an Amber Alert out. And he was and has been in witness protection because, hey, guys, do me a favor. Tomorrow, don't beat him up so bad. The Cowboys haven't done shit since MySpace was a thing. Like the Chia Pet was popular. Hey, Mark, the last time Mark Holmes and the Cowboys were relevant. Ready? The Chia Pet, MySpace. We still had we still had phone booths. Let's see what else. Jerry only had one paternity suit against him. What else? Jimmy was in the building. Mark is on the Wall Street. It was before MySpace, bro. Yeah, Disciple, I was at the mail office and they were looking for him, man, because they were a little concerned. Dan Sileo thinks the Super Bowl era started in 17. No, I don't. But I can promise you this. The Eagles have tripled you in wins in every aspect. Do you know what you've become? You know what the Cowboys here. So Mark Holmes knows. Here's what's happened. Here's what's happened. You remember that rivalry they used to have back in the day between the Red Sox and Yankees? And the Yankees had won all those world championships since 1918 when Ruth was there. And all of a sudden, the Red Sox, they started winning, and the Yankees have been pretty much irrelevant. Well, that's what's happened since 2000. The Eagles are relevant, and the Cowboys aren't. The shiny helmet looks great. I like the helmet. All the fancy uniforms in the fancy stadium looks great. How about wins? Hey, when's the last time you swept us? Oh, Mark, going after small victories. We go after large enchiladas like NFC title games. Look what you Eagle fans have me doing now. Talking to a guy that has nothing to stand on, including Whack Prescott. I mean, Whack Prescott. and Ezekiel Elliott. Come on, man. Mark, come on, Mark. Whack Prescott. Does that make up for the... Oh, yeah. No. Mark wants to go in there and give us our full history lesson here. You know, back in the day, when you rolled up your helmet and put it in your back pocket. Kiddies, the Cowboys were great. One bar. You know, Don Meredith. Roger Staubach. Calvin Hill. And we were one of those teams that were always in the Super Bowl back then. You should have seen us back then. Landry had the hat on, walked around with a squeaky voice. Wee, wee, wee. Mm-hmm. Love Coach Landry. You know, back when like the Datsun was still a thing. Yeah, remember Datsuns and what was that other car called? A Yugo. Had like a Yugo. Those little Yugo cars. Eastern Airlines was around. Braniff. We flew on Braniff, believe it or not. Mark's out of witness protection. I'm glad to see that. Looks like they've locked up the people that the Eagle fans that were looking for him. Just be ready tomorrow, bro. Oh. Ready for what? Another one and done? Oh, man. Hey. I feel bad for you, Mark. Here's why. Here's why I feel bad for Mark. What could he possibly say against the Eagle organization and its fans the last 20 years? What could he say? We're 9-4 versus the Eagles? Okay. Don't worry, he'll go into hiding. Hey, you'll think he's that rat every year when he kind of shows his hey, Marcus, hey, Philly. Mark's going to go like that Punxsutawney Tom or whatever the guy is. You know, the guy that comes out to see his shadow? He'll go back in the hole again. Philly 500. Philly 500. Are you coming in tomorrow? Because Mark says he wants a piece of this. He's been hiding out. Me and Philly have been really concerned. We've been really concerned. By the way, Philly, he's been talking shit on both of us too, or mainly me. I think it's all right.
I am now Philly 500's bitch.
Oh man! Oh, Mark is good. Okay, Philly 5. Oh my God, the legend himself. So we're going to get Mark and Philly on tomorrow. I might have to get Angelo. I might have to have all of us on. And just to go through this here. Whew. You know I was Oh, man. I think Mark does a good job covering his Cowboys, though. But then again, it can't be that hard. You only work till January. You don't really work into February. And hey, isn't that right, Mark? You don't work really like till February. I will play the morality card on us like it was nothing to do with anything. Ooh, this is getting a little heated. Ooh. Mark has a panic room. It's called an eagle room. It's not a panic room. It's an eagle room. I actually like Mark. I knew Sills was undercover. Eagle, shut up. Don't make me do that. Okay? Oh my God, Philly 500 is going me in on it. Oh no. He's going need. Oh man. Good night. All right, I'm going to take a time out here. I got to. Whew. Let's get back on the rails here. All right, so we got it tomorrow, man. We got Philly 500 and Mark Holmes, the Cowboy man, will be with us tomorrow. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
the greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Can he flick it? Can he flick it? This is really mind-numbing here that, and again, see, people in Philly, even Xander Krause, and I guarantee you when I get Philly 500 on here tomorrow, and I hate to do this and give ammo to Mark. Pro Football Focus has Dak Prescott as the number one quarterback in the NFC. Dak Prescott. Based off of 2000. See, what people don't like is who's the better quarter? No. Coming off 2023. Hold on. Philly 500. Pro Football Focus has Dak Prescott, number one. Matthew Stafford, 2. Your boy Hurts, 3. Jordan Love, 4, who I would take over Hurts if I started my team. Brock Purdy, 5. Cousins, 6. Golf, 7. Murray, 8. Look at these bums. Hold on. Let me do this. AFC quarterback ranking. Mahomes. Would any of these guys be ranked 1 or wait, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, CJ Stroud? Like, think about this for a second. If you were going to start your football team with any quarterback in the AFC and the NFC, would you take any of those quarterbacks over Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, or CJ Stroud? No, you wouldn't. So you're telling me the top quarterback in the NFC would be 6th? And that's Dak? Would you take Dak over Trevor Lawrence? I don't know. I don't know. Would you? That can't even win a playoff game. He could beat you, though. He is 9-4 versus Philly. You don't want to play him in a playoff game. You might get beat in that game. It's like the top quarterback in maybe Stafford. But God, if you're going to look at the top quarterbacks in the AFC, the top quarterback in the NFC wouldn't get up there. Is there a guy even in the top 10? I guess Dak. Like, you would never take Hurts over any of those quarterbacks I mentioned in the AFC. Lamar Jackson's got 2 most valuable player awards. And when you go like this, well, look at his playoff record. Look at his playoff record. Look who he's playing against. He's playing against quality quarterbacks. He's not playing against bums. Baker Mayfield is like 10th. Right? We rested starters, 3 of those. Oh, yeah, of course. You rested starters. How about last year? Dak doesn't step out of bounds. They beat you twice. One of the games, they killed you. Woo! Yeah! Let's reset this. Question for you. We opened up the show with this question. You really believe what's Allen without Diggs? We'll find out. We'll find out. I think they're going to win 12, 13 games this year. What is Patrick Mahomes going to do without Tyreek Hill? Well, I don't know. He's won back-to-back Super Bowls. "101 days. Mahomes wasn't trash before Hill. So when they got rid of Hill and he won the back-to-back MVPs in the Super Bowl, you're saying Allen won't be better because why? In the last 3 years, he's second in wins in the NFL. He's second in touchdown passes. What up, Big Sills? And thank you very much, 5 stars. Xander, where are we, my friend? In the hit total, as we're looking to get to 200. You guys are starting the week off outstanding here. 101 days out from the start. Talking about Joshy again? No, we're talking about the rankings again in the NFC. 194. I like it. We're 6 away. Very good. Very, very good. Thank you, guys. You guys are killing it here today. Whack Prescott. Hey, Taylor, I think that offense is going to struggle this year. I really do. I think it's really going to struggle this year. Does any have the stats when Kelsey's not playing with Mahomes? Hey, Jeffy, how do you think Brady would do without Gronkowski? Or you got to have players around you, dude. The only difference is that Brady never needed a wideout to win a Super Bowl. Never needed one. He just needed some dudes. That's what good quarterbacks do. They just need guys who are reliable. That's why when Xander and I were talking, he's like, and it's true, replace Jim Kelly with Allen. Do they win those 3 Super Bowls with that defense? Absolutely. I think Josh Allen's better than Jim Kelly. I do. And that's a cane to cane. I think Jim Kelly in today's NFL would be insane throwing the ball, but Allen can do more. I think Allen can do more. I do. Now, Josh Allen didn't have bad defenses. Okay? Didn't have it. Think about this. Those guys didn't need any receivers. That's why they've dominated the Super Bowls. Good quarterbacks don't need exceptional wide receivers to win Super Bowls. What's the last big-time wideout to win a Super Bowl? Tyreek Hill? Well, he was on his rookie deal still. Cooper Kupp, he was on his rookie deal too. Need good coaching? They do. Sean McVay, Bruce Arians, Bill Belichick. Absolutely. Think about it, though. Juju Smith-Schuster, Amendola, Edelman, Welker. These guys will never see the inside of a Hall of Fame unless they're buying tickets. Mike Evans in 2020. Yeah. It's probably his best big-time receiver that he won a Super Bowl with. Yeah. Probably his best big-time wideout. Absolutely. Yes. 44 years old? Sure. Okay. That's right. I would say Mike Evans is the best wide receiver that Brady ever played with that won a Super Bowl. Best wide receiver, absolutely, that they won a Super Bowl with. And Antonio Brown was not the top guy in that offense. It was Gronkowski and Mike Evans. Yeah. Now, again, like you guys said, but when you're like a player like Joe Flacco, you have to have good players around you, or like Jalen, or like Purdy. And I think they understand that. That's why the 49ers and the Eagles build the rosters the way they do. They had to put all their resources on one side of the ball because they know their quarterback can't win Super Bowls without having great talent around them. That's why it's set up that way. That's why they believe, and that's why I think Dak Prescott can't do it. Well, suplex. Who do they have up there now in Buffalo? Who? What do they have in Buffalo? Nothing. Nobody. That's what Buffalo thinks. Remember something. Most of the cap issues that they had, they fired guys on defense. Buffalo's going 2-15? No way. Buffalo's going to win 13 games this year, win the East again, and be in contention to play for a Super Bowl, as always. You know why? Because they're a great quarterback-centric team who can do it all. That's why. And doesn't need to have the most expensive offensive huddle in pro football history. They don't have to spend $200 million on an offense for their quarterback to be in the NFC title game. You do. You're the ones that have to spend $200,000. I'm not talking about cap. I'm talking about you spending $200 million or $175 million on offensive salaries. Honestly, Sills, Bills need to – I'm completely true. I agree with you 100%, Cosmo. Cosmo, I completely agree with you. I think Sean McDermott is not the right guy for that job. I mean, hey, dude, how about this one, Cosmo? Could you – if Washington does a great job with Jaden Daniels, okay, say they do a great job with Jaden Daniels, do you think Cliff Kingsbury gets that job in Buffalo? And you have an RPO coach coaching Josh Allen like he did Patrick Mahomes in college. And let's not forget something about Cliff Kingsbury at Arizona. He was in the same division with McVay and with Pete Carroll, and they won 11 games with him. I mean, some pretty good coaches in that conference and won 11 ball games. So Kingsbury does a great job with Jaden Daniels. Kingsbury gets that job in Buffalo, or Belichick gets that job in Buffalo. And he goes against Kraft and the Patriots for the next 4 years. And you have Bill Belichick coaching against the Patriots with Josh Allen. And he's fixing the defense on that side of the ball. And they bring Josh McDaniel up there as OC. Oh, Twiz goes, RPO guy? Yeah, but he's an RPO guy that throws for 4,500 yards a year and 30 touchdowns and wins. I mean, dude, Jalen does one thing that Allen does, run. The rest of it, he's 10 times behind him. Ten times. Cowboys don't need to rebuild. They have a better run. Absolutely not true. even with the Eagles' shitty defense, your defense is better, Ultra Cowboy, but your O-line's not. Who's running the ball? Who's running the ball in Dallas? Your relic of a running back in Zeke Elliott? Come on, dude. You don't have a running game. You're going to tell me Cooks is better than Smith? No. He has nobody in Buffalo. No, I'm not. No. But he'll put the same numbers up. A pass-happy offense is not the way Buffalo should go. Very strong wins. Well, hey, Paul, they threw the ball 14 times when they assassinated the Cowboys. Allen completed 7 passes versus Dallas, and they put 30-plus points up on them. So they know how to win games in Buffalo by not being pass-happy. Did they not do that? They threw the ball 14 times in that Cowboy game that they annihilated you in. It wasn't like they threw the ball 37 times. He had 7 completions. It was like a game from the 1940s with Sammy Baugh. Best OG tandem in the NFL. CD is better than A. Absolutely not. Ferguson is better than Goddard. Best OG tandem. Okay, so you have the best OG tandem. And yet, Landon Dickerson is the highest paid guard now in the league, making more than your boy Zach Martin. Probably true. You do have better guards as a tandem. But they annihilate you in tackle play. Mulata's the second or third best offensive left tackle in the sport. And Lane's the best right tackle. So as a collective group, you lose your center. They're moving a kid over to a natural spot who didn't play that bad at guard. Are you actually trying to tell me you think your 2 guys are better than their 5 guys? No way. No way. And your run production a year ago was a result of it. DeAndre Swift, who never had 1,000 yards running the ball, Ultra Cowboy, had 1,000 yards and just got an $8 million contract in Chicago. There's not a chance in hell. By the way, CeeDee Lamb is better than A.J. Brown? Not happening. Nobody in their right mind would draft CeeDee Lamb over A.J. Brown. Especially after, I give you the guards, Ultra. I'll give you the guards. I think, yeah, I've got a lot of respect for Zach. I do. I have a lot of respect for him. Dude, CeeDee Lamb over AJ. And then you got barely a talent drop with Devontae. The last time you had dual wide receivers that were decent is when you had Amari Cooper. And you couldn't afford them anymore because you do a shitty job in salaries. You got to be kidding me, guy. The Eagle offense versus the Cowboy offense, not on the same page. 53-man roster, okay. With the greatness of Brian Johnson and Jaden Daniels, we'll throw for $4,000. I forgot Brian Johnson's the quarterback coach in Washington. Can you imagine that? CeeDee Lamb, 1,700 yards. And he had all the targets. My God. You don't really. So wait a minute. Let me take a look at something here. Over the last 2 years. Hey, by the way, you actually have a quarterback that can get him the ball. This guy's never thrown for $4,000. So he's limited in ability on throwing the ball. A.J. Brown stats. So in the last 2 years, 1456, 1496. 2,952. CeeDee Lamb stats. Huh. $31.68. CeeDee's got $31.68 to $29.52. But here, you have another 1,000-yard receiver on the other side. But I'm shocked. I didn't realize that CeeDee had more receiving yards than AJ. And and he's not quite AJ Owens. You watch tomorrow. Mark's going to take it to wacky places. It's if he shows up. He threw for 3,800 and you're complaining? Yeah, because that's not today's NFL, Ben. Guys who throw for 3,800 yards are bums. $50 million a year guy can't throw for 3,900 yards. And Dak is a decade of nothing. Eagles' top 2 wide receivers versus the Cowboys' top 2 wide receivers only have 100 yards more. Wait a minute. So you're telling me your wide receiver 2 guy has, with Devontae Smith has over 2,200 yards the last 2 years since he's been in the league? And you're telling me, who's the other wide receiver that's got 2,200 yards? I must have missed that. That's right, Taylor. That's right. You drop CeeDee in the slot so he didn't have to play against really good people. He plays against slow people. That's correct. I don't think anything of him. Here would be my top wideouts if I'm picking. If I'm picking my top 5 wide receivers in today's NFL, here's my top 5 wideouts in today's NFL. Number 5, Tyreek Hill. Number 4, Cooper Kupp. Number 3, A.J. Brown. Number 2, Devontae Adams. And number 1, Justin Jefferson. Those are my 3 dudes. 5 dudes, I should say. CeeDee Lamb is not. Jamar Chase, I would take. Maybe Jalen Reagor. I might take over him. Devontae's in. Dude, I don't think he's that much better than Devontae. Sales, the question is, threw the ball up with AJ and CeeDee in the area. Who's coming down with it? AJ Brown's coming down with it. AJ Brown's coming down with it. On jump balls, no way. And Allen throws for 4,500 and chokes. Taylor, and loses to Mahomes. You lose to Baker Mayfield. Ultra goes, PFF has Jefferson, Hill, Chase, and CeeDee. Yeah. And PFF also has Caleb Williams as the 10th best quarterback in the NFC this year. And he's never played a down. Ultra goes, laughing his ass off. CD has 300 more yards than AJ. And AJ has 3 more playoff wins than CD. And actually played in a Super Bowl. And actually was pretty good. The next time CD Lamb gets to a Super Bowl, he'll be a doorman. He'll be a doorman holding a lavatory door open like Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown. Hey, by the way, real quick. Okay, real quick. Antonio Brown. You feel sorry for him? He lost $89 million. And now he filed for bankruptcy. Anybody feel sorry for him? You feel sorry for him? $89 million he's lost. Feel bad for him? Brian goes, unfortunately, no. How do you know some of this stuff is not CTE related? Hell no? Okay. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. 215. AB after the Vontaze Burfict hit. Could I have played anything into it? His behavior? His erratic behavior? I'm not justifying anything, and nor am I giving him an off-ramp. I mean, it's really weird. By the way, this is not going to end well. You understand that, right? I know, James. All right. Xander, where are we? He was not the same 215 after that Vontaze Burfict hit. He wasn't. Hey, get this, dude. Hey, 215. Didn't they throw Burfict out of the league for that? I mean, I never saw him play again. Did he? Or did he get like a stint with the Raiders and he did it again and they threw him out? I think Vontaze Burfict is one of the only players I've ever seen banned for hitting players. I don't think he ever came back. So we are at 206. All right. Guys, fantastic stuff. I really appreciate it. Hit the like button. Keep it here. National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
the greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Tomorrow we will have the Battle Royale. Philly 500. Big Sales. Mark Holmes. Cowboys, Eagles. Man, it sounds like a monster movie. I like it. Joe goes, Scary Mark showing up. Well, Philly beat his ass so bad he went into witness protection. I mean, I had to make a call into like the Amber Alert folks there in the Commonwealth where he lives. And I was saying, if you've seen this guy, you might want to put him on a milk carton. Just tell me what time. Hey, I'll send you a text. I'll send you a text. By the way, everybody's getting ready for the upcoming season. Pro Football Focus ranking the top running backs. Number 1, Christian McCaffrey. Number 2, so-called Eagle people calling Derrick Henry wash is number 2. Number 3, Jonathan Taylor is number 3. Number 4 is Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns. Number 5 is, where the hell is Saquon? Where's Barkley? Hang on. McCaffrey's number 1, San Francisco. Derrick Henry, number 2, Baltimore. Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis, is 3. Nick Chubb is 4. Number 5 is Bijan Robinson. There's Barkley, number 6. Right there in front of Breece Hall, New York Jets. Aaron Jones, 8. Jahmyr Gibbs, Detroit, 9. And Josh Jacobs, Green Bay, number 10. You're going to get a load of him in week 1 there in Sao Paulo. Yeah, Ultra goes, Nick Chubb coming off a catastrophic injury. I don't see any Dallas Cowboy running backs in that thing. That's the guy you needed to replace was Elliott. Instead, you bring a relic back. Sills, I did see the NFC East rival teams, and I think the toughest matchup will be Washington over the Cowboys because they have a better team. Yeah, Washington has a better team, and they have a better coaching staff. I think Zimmer and McCarthy are good. I do. Dan Quinn's been to Super Bowls himself. I think that you got a really good one because this is the guy that I believe that the Eagles wanted was Cliff Kingsbury to be the OC because he's actually an RPO guy, and he's in Washington. So I do. And Dan Quinn's going to do a lot on that defensive side. Remember, he was a coach that won a Super Bowl when he was a D coordinator up in Seattle with the Legion of Boom. Okay, he was a DC in Seattle. So, I mean, he's got a Super Bowl. He's got a Super Bowl ring. And I think Washington, look, I like this kid, Jaden Daniels. I do. I think Jaden Daniels. Mike Zimmer is an upgrade. Probably. Your secondary will be better. Your secondary in Dallas will be better. Hey, Ultra, all kidding aside, I'll say this to you about your Cowboy team. You're weak in the running game. You got a decent O-line, aging. Your quarterback has lesser talent than it's had in 3 years. I think McCarthy did a nice job with him a year ago. I think your tight end might be your second best offensive player in your huddle, skill set wise. The kid Ferguson's coming on. Your defensive front is not horrible, but you can be run on. Mozzie Smith sucks. He's a bust. He's worse than Danny Noonan. He's a bust. Okay? You're not fixing that. He's barely a first and second down D lineman. And remember what I told all of you in here on draft day? I said this, I go, if they draft Mozzie Smith, they drafted him in the first round. I went, that guy's a third or fourth rounder at best. He's a third or fourth rounder. He's not good. He wasn't good at Michigan. Shit, the kid that got drafted this year was a better ball player. The interior kid that went in the mid rounds, he was a better ball player. Definitely. Connett's fault. Kellen's fault. Well, hey, all I know is Dak had a great year last year. No, hey, James, I think Ferguson, actually, too, James, your tight end that ate up the Eagles, who's getting better, I think he's pretty good, too. I think that kid is great. Mozzie was great at Michigan. No, he wasn't. Michigan and the Big Ten are not that great a conference. They're not. Who do you play outside of Ohio State that's worth a shit? Overrated Penn State? Who? Michigan State? Iowa? Northwestern? You make it sound like you have a bunch of great teams in that conference. If you took Michigan and you took Ohio State out of that conference, it'd be the Mid-America Conference. The Southeastern Conference. Phenomenal ball teams and players there. Michigan did win the national title. They sure did. Because you know why? He recruited in the southeastern part of the country. And he recruited like an SEC team. They'll be back to normal. You got to remember something also about Michigan. They've won one national title in the last 94 years. You make it sound like Michigan is a national power. They're not a national power. They're not. All right. Battle Royale tomorrow. Appreciate it, everybody. Fantastic stuff as always. Xander was great today, too, by the way. Gary Cobb, we apologize. He had an event he had to get to. Probably get him on tomorrow. So until then, Joe and Xander, thank you very much. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.